Welcome everyone to MogTalk. It is July 15th, 2017. If you are new to MogTalk, MogTalk is a podcast where we bring the Final Fantasy XIV community together to discuss topics ranging from chocobo racing to savage raiding. And today we will discuss the current state of the Stormblood tank. That kind of rhymed. That's good, dude. All right.
Rap God.
Yeah. All right. To discuss this matter, we're bringing on two of my favorite tanks, and I can't do it. I'm sorry. I tried. All right. First, a player who likely doesn't need any introduction, as you have likely watched either his stream or his guides, or you hate him extremely, Mr. Xenosys Vex.
That sounds about right. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on the show, dude.
Of course, man. Of course. And his old co-tank, one of the groups that, hey, actually you guys got world first on A10S and world fourth on A12S.
Yep.
One of the best tanks we have here right now, Mr. Perez. How you doing, dude?
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a tank for the Victoria's Secret Static. We're doing role progression for Elysium. But yeah, most of you guys probably know me from Xeno streams and certain memes that I probably shouldn't say.
No, we'll hold off on that meme. We'll hold off.
Yeah.
I'm sure chat will bring it up.
Don't want to taint Frosty's stream too.
Don't want to taint it on the audio portion at least.
Or do we? I don't know.
It's already been tainted, man. But no, seriously, you guys used to double warrior back in the day too.
Fuck yeah.
Amazing.
World first double warrior A8 clear, dude.
Fuck yeah. We fucking did it.
That's an accomplishment right there.
Now, today, it would be an amazing accomplishment. Super amazing, but that's changing. We'll get into that soon. Are you guys ready for raiding? Are you guys, like, hyped for this Savage content next week?
I'm fucking hyped, man.
Yeah, normal was actually really fun, so I'm really excited
No, it
for
was
what
cool.
Savage offers.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about normal. Some people have been kind of not as intrigued by it, mainly because of that second boss and the first one.
I love the second boss, man.
I don't know, dude. I don't like Vril, so by default, I can't like the second boss. I
Any
just
ability that's like just an extra ability over there you don't like?
Yeah, I can't double weave.
What
dude.
if balance was like the ability?
Oh, that favorite fight, dude. Of course.
Number one fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, today we will be discussing the current state of tanking in Stormblood. We have a lot to discuss, especially with the release of the new information from the live letter just like hours ago. We will go over each job individually, and we'll discuss the tank meta. If you guys have any questions for me, the guest, or just general questions for all of us on the topics, feel free to ask them. I believe Kurara has collected them. I'm not sure, she was just getting home recently, so ask him anyways, and we'll try to get to him. Xeno, Perez, you guys ready to get into this?
I'm fucking born ready, man.
All right, dude. All right. So, the first thing I want to do, man, and you guys might want to know what I want to talk about first. Do you guys have, you think you can figure that out?
Is it Paladin?
It's fucking Paladin, man.
Is it Paladin?
It's goddamn Paladin. The almighty Paladin, man. It's
hey, man, the wrecking ball of justice, dude.
Yeah, dude. I didn't think when we did that show that we'd be coming in feeling like this today. But it came, man. It came. Those just desserts came, and they came pretty strong. We might be feeling a little bit of pain soon, but it's been feeling good, dude.
Depends.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, we'll see. It depends on how big that nerf is. Hopefully it's not too big, but
I don't think it's gonna be that big.
I mean, Paladin's like that kid in high school that you just bullied, and you're like, man, you're such a little dork, and you like pushed him around and stuff, and then like he just started to work out, man. He got really, really buff, and then he got like a 7-figure job, and now he's married to like some supermodel or something. That's Paladin right now.
Be careful who you make fun of in high school, you know?
Yeah, don't figure out who you're
fun.
bullying, guys. Come on.
Well, I mean, like Paladin always had so much potential, and I think that Square Enix did like a fantastic job with Paladin. But like Dark Knight and Warrior, on the other hand, the jobs that they did fantastic with the previous patch is like, I don't know. So Square Enix, like, I want to give them my respect, but I just can't, because they couldn't release an expansion with 3 perfect tanks. you know.
Yeah.
And with these changes, I just
They
hope
could do
that,
one for sure.
you know,
Well, it seemed like they put too much work into one and kind of just left the other two. It almost felt like kind of.
Yeah, I mean, some people might agree with
But
you on that, but
so like some of the shit should have so like the Paladin changes were amazing, but a lot of people seem to forget that those are the changes that should have already been in the game in the first place. Like like the Savage Blade being on Royal Authority, that shouldn't have been there. Like Paladin should not have had TP issues. Paladin should have been able to block magic. Like all of these changes, they should have been in the game already. But I mean, it's good that they are now, but it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, finally, it's like, because all of this shit fixes all the issues that they had. But the thing is, they took all the utility from all the other tanks and just put it on one, which is fine if they want Paladin to be the full utility, full defensive, which is what they want. And that's fine. But their damage is outrageous. Like their damage is outrageous. Like I'm literally not even paying attention. And I'm doing massive amounts of damage. And you know what? It just didn't even matter if I fuck up because, I messed up a fight or flight window. That's all right. I got a requisite window coming up in like 10 seconds anyway. That's all right. Whatever.
You know what's bad? When our raid group actually considered going in double Paladin.
We did too.
And we're just like, why not? Like, why wouldn't we? Well,
we predicted this. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
Xeno, we said this, man. We're going to do double Paladin. We got the gravestone for Warrior. We got the gravestone for Dark Knight.
Fuck yeah.
So, man, Paladin it felt weird at first to me because I know, they're supposed to have magic and everything else, but offensive magic didn't really make sense to me as much. But they do too much damage. I wish they would do less damage than the other tanks. I play Paladin, and I want them to do a little bit less damage than the other tanks because I want to play a tank that they're like, oh wow, they're really good at utility. They're really good at being useful, super defensive. That's the kind of tank I want to play. That's just my playstyle. But if you just add in that extra damage now everyone's just playing it because it's the one-stop shop.
Well, here's the thing with Final Fantasy and endgame rating. It's like if a tank drops under another in terms of damage, they are automatically not needed or wanted in content outside of progression. So yeah, I would love Paladin to be like, the must-have in the meta, but when you nerf the damage to an extent, people are just not going to want to bring it on. Like Xeno was talking about earlier, like they were considering, hey man, if Dark Knight and Warrior potencies are buffed enough, then why not just bring Dark Knight Warrior so we can skip mechanics? Because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be doing if we have another creator just skipping mechanics,
We are going to have another creator.
Yeah, well, especially since we were already skipping mechanics week 1 of creator.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like, yeah. So like there's no way, like it is literally impossible to have all 3 tanks completely balanced in every single piece of content. It's literally impossible because just as you said, even if it's like 20 or 30 DPS, the lowest tank will not be optimal for speed runs and farm, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be used because like for instance, okay, so we all know the Paladin's going to get a slight potency nerf on Holy Spirits. That is not going to make them like less viable whatsoever. They are still amazing and arguably still the best tank, arguably. The thing is that there's different types of content. Like there's prog content, which is insanely different from speedrun and farm. So because it's impossible to balance all 3 tanks for every single piece of content, Paladin is the prog tank. Like that should be like, if you need those utility abilities, that should be the tank, like the go-to tank.
Which I like a lot. It's an awesome concept,
Yeah, because that way that way groups that either one need it or super early prog groups, they're going to use that. The only argument to not using those using the utility is the damage going to outweigh it? Like, do we actually need intervention? Well, if we think about it here, we're going to home gang 3 out of 5 of these tank busters. So we probably don't need intervention on this boss.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to home gang 3 out of the fucking 5,
Right.
you know, we're probably not going to, you know, need that shit. So that's the argument. So like super skilled groups, like super skilled hardcore groups, they will probably be able to get around without using that utility. But like mid-core and all the population pretty much, they're going to need that utility. So that's going to shine. Like that's going to make Paladin like super good. And I mean, fuck, man, even in like, I mean, come on, like let's be real here. Most of the people that play this game, they don't really give a fuck about their damage. They don't really give a fuck. They just want to kill the shit and they want to get their loot, and that's fine. You know, that's understandable. So Paladin is still going to be amazing in that aspect too. The biggest thing, I think, the biggest issue in 3.x was that you couldn't take Dark Knight Paladin. That was the biggest issue because of the tanking, like the tanking despair, like they both wanted a tank and the Savage Blade shit and just all those other problems. But now none of those problems exist anymore. So the fact that you can take those two together makes Paladin even more viable. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
so they're not going to be locked out of content.
Yeah, there's no way that Paladins will be locked out of any piece of content. I mean, they can block magic. Yeah, I mean, come on.
They're supposed to. They had a video of a Paladin blocking magic when Sheltron was introduced in Heavensward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
Oh, and the benchmark?
Yeah.
That got me so hyped, dude. I'm like, yo, my shield can block. No, actually, it doesn't block. Nice try, buddy.
You know a tank is badass when you can turn your back to a fucking meteor, okay? A meteor coming out of the sky, you know? It's coming out. And you turn your back, you're like, fuck that. And you block it from behind. Are you fucking serious? That's badass, dude.
Skyscraper with like 100-ton sword. You're just like, yeah, okay.
It's like you're doing your fast blade and your riot blading just real quick. Throw your shield back there. You only block this real quick, and then you just keep going like it didn't even fucking matter. Like it didn't even matter, man. Fuck you, meteor. You know, it's just that's badass, man. That's badass, man.
Yeah.
Really
you know,
I agree. And the one thing that I'll say about the whole DPS, I just want to throw this in as a side note to it, and you guys can tell me your thoughts on it, of course. Because when we're talking about DPS, and like the 2 highest DPS tanks will be meta in that regard. But people should probably keep in mind, if there's a tank that somehow provides more DPS by not doing DPS, like they have abilities that increase other bits of DPS throughout the raid, I would think they would be better. We don't really have that situation because in the end, we would stop maybe a GCD, right? Well, I don't know. Do you guys feel like Paladin can get to that point to where they can make the healers do more DPS by preventing more damage?
Well, yeah, of course, because like the way you should be looking at tanks is like from three standpoints, right? Utility, defensive capabilities, and offensive capabilities, right? And the first 2 I feel like you should be looking at for progression is definitely utility and defense. And Paladin arguably has utility. It's not really an argument.
Yeah, they have all the utility.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of defense, you can argue that a warrior is actually more tanky than a paladin. Still, actually, through my test, I found that a warrior is.
Warrior CD suite is unrivaled, man.
We can talk about that when we talk about warrior.
Yeah.
I'm really stoked about that. Anyways. And then you can look at the offensive capabilities, and because Paladin is so strong in the other 2, like there's no question that the healers are going to be able to fit in more DPS abilities versus cures or whatever. So Paladin is really strong for speed kills. And it's actually, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because even if they do nerf Paladin so that their DPS is, 100 or 200 lower, Well, I feel like that'd be a bit much, like a 50 or 100 lower than the other tanks. They would still be in a really good position because of those utility abilities and those defensive capabilities.
As long as in the net gain, you gain more DPS somehow.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty awesome seeing Paladins kind of at this. To be honest, I'm a little bit irritated from all the posers out there, man. Dude. Like,
dude, there's so many fucking people jumping on the flavor of the month bandwagon, dude. It's okay. We will accept you. You coward warriors back on our side. We will accept you. All you pussies that went to fucking play Paladin, we will accept you back. But we will refer to you as coward. And we'll just leave it at that.
Take them back as cowards, man. Just do it. That's fine. Oh my goodness.
I got a comment on my warrior video. They were like, this guy got super personal. Like, he got really personal. He was like, yeah, take that, Xeno. They nerfed your class. Well, if that's the case, then they buffed my class, fucker. So, like, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? They nerfed your, like, that guy was mad. He was mad.
So when I was playing Warrior all this time, it was actually your class. It was Xeno's job.
I'm playing the Xeno job.
Like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, oh, dude.
There's Xeno strat. There's the Xeno job. Holy shit, man.
The fact that thought even entered that person's brain is like, I'm surprised he has enough function to even breathe or have a heartbeat. Like, oh my god, dude. Holy fuck.
I'm sure after I post this up, I'll get similar reactions.
I mean, you're gonna get shit on too.
Yeah.
I mean, prepare for it. You'll get out the umbrella because the shit's gonna rain, dog.
I can't believe Xeno's been on 2 shows this week. Man, this guy sucks. He's the elitist POS, man. Gosh. One of the forum comments, man, he said, I can't remember exactly what it said, but he was like, it was talking about the Stay the Realm episode. And he was like, man, this guy just made my blood boil. Like, holy fuck, man. Like, you do know if you don't like something, you just turn that shit off. You just turn it off, right?
It doesn't work, man.
You just turn it off, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, it's so funny.
You have to dislike first and write a rage comment, and then you can probably close out. All right, it just doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You know, so anyway, going back to like Paladins, one thing. Okay, so first off, the Holy Spirit nerf, the slight nerf or whatever. Originally they said something about cast time, but then I heard later it was potency. So I don't fucking know if it's cast time or potency. I just know it's one of them, but I don't think it's going to be cast time, because if it's cast time, then you're not going to be able to weave in your circle of scoring and your spirits, but I could be wrong, but I heard it was one or the other. But one thing that I'm really surprised about, and still surprised, is that they have not changed Sheltron, or I'm sorry, not Bulwark. Why is that a fucking 3-minute cooldown? That's unreal. That makes no because
sense. It blocks everything, no, dude. When it does work. Right?
Well, here's the thing. Here is why Paladin cooldown suite is not as good, in my opinion, as like Warrior, for example. Because Warrior, you can stack multiple cooldowns multiple times, but because there's so so Sheltron is one of the best cooldowns in the game. Sheltron is fucking ridiculous. Like, it's amazing, right? Yeah. The issue with Sheltron is that you can't Bulwark and then Sheltron, right? You can't like have a super block. You know what I mean? So the fact that Bulwark is still on a 3-minute cooldown is really, really weird. I really thought that they might like change that. I actually thought they were going to change it to 4.0, but they didn't. And I don't know if other people share this opinion, but Bulwark is, while it's not, it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, because you can block magic, but it's still not very good, because basically it's not even 100%. And it's on 3 minutes. That cooldown is basically saying I'm as good as Sentinel. Because that's how I read that.
Yeah,
is I'm as good as Sentinel.
It is ridiculous, but I think like when we do see a bulwark nerf, or not, holy shit, not a nerf, a buff, we'll probably see one to Shadow Wall and Sentinel as well, because I think those cooldowns, they got a lot of praise for like their, oh wow, 30% damage taken reduction, but it really isn't that good just because of the recast time. 3-minute recast just isn't, like, it's not viable compared to warrior cooldowns.
I mean, you use it like 3 times a fight at most usually, right? And like I honestly, I don't know where to fit it most of the time. I know in A10S where I could fit it. All right, I could throw it in there when he's doing that multiple attack over and over and over again, and that's kind of okay, but it's still not great. I agree that like Bulwark is just a weird cooldown that shouldn't exist the way it does.
Like, because like now Bulwark, because you can shelter on every buster, Bulwark is literally just it's like on Foresight level, but it's twice the cooldown. Because when there's now granted, so it's a lot better on multi-hit tank busters, and I'm not saying there's not going to be multi-hit tank busters in the future. I'm just saying more times than not, when there's a fucking cast bar, it's one hit. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, right. More times than not.
Honestly, I'm just using Bulwark for like fluff damage to be
honest. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. The in between damage is there's just a fluff damage to, and well, not only that, but I guess you can proc a shield swipe. I guess.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
You can proc a shield swipe, but I mean, and there's been some people that disagree with me on this, but I think Sentinel should be 30% at 2 minutes, and Shadow Wall should just be 30% at 2 minutes.
Agree.
40% is 40% and 30%. It doesn't matter that it's 40%. If you use a 30% cooldown, it's going to do the same thing. Trust me, it's going to do the same thing. This is coming from someone who is extremely greedy, toxic piece of shit. 270 tank accessories, no fucking tank stance, and I'm telling you, from the bare minimum, there is no difference from 30% to 40%. Like, I'm fucking telling you, man. Like, I mean,
it's to have different numbers is to make them different in some way, right?
I guess I would rather just have a tank cooldown be a fucking tank cooldown, I mean, they fucking cross-class or rolled Rampart, I mean, I don't know, man. In my opinion, I just think that it still doesn't make sense to me why they're obsessed with having Paladins have these long ass fucking cooldowns. You use one and you wait like until the next expansion for it to fucking come up again, and it's like, dude, just make Bulwark 90 seconds, make it 90 seconds, make fucking Sentinel 2 minutes, and it would complete the class. It would complete or at least in my opinion, it would just make the cooldown so much better, man.
Like right now, you can consider it like the perfect tank, relatively, but in terms of defense, they do lack a little bit. Like on demand cooldowns, like for busters and shit, like they are unmatched just because of Sheltron. But for fluff damage in between, and for I don't know, like 03, Halicarnassus, whatever her name is, and X-Death, they chunk you for auto attacks.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, especially 03, man. It's pretty. Or I didn't mean to assume a gender. My bad. It hits pretty hard.
But yeah, like if you're using strength accessories, she is chunking you for a third of your HP every auto attack. So like that makes tanks like Warrior all the more better, right? Because you can be popping cooldowns as you go, and you can almost have the cooldown up 100% of the time if you're planning it correctly, right? So
I do have a quick note here, and this is completely unofficial source from Mr. MogMog57 here. They are changing the potency and not the cast time for Holy Spirit because Yoshida explained how they were annoyed how long the cast was during Savage Test before the launch, and they reduced the cast time but forgot to nerf the potency, which made it overpowered.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought the translation said. That was they were going to nerf the potency and not the cast time.
Because that'd be weird. You got to weave stuff in there. If you like make it a block where you can't weave anything in there, then that feels goofy to me.
Well, that would just be bad design because then you're sitting on your fucking your spirits in your circle, it would like it would fight against the requisite buff because you'd be trying to fit in 5, or whatever, so then you wouldn't be able to do that anymore. So you'd either lose damage from your off GCDs or you'd lose damage from a Holy Spirit cast.
Okay. Yeah. So is Bulwark like your only complaint about Paladins? Is there anything else that's kind of like?
I mean, besides Bulwark and Sentinel, I think Paladin is it's in the best spot it's ever been. But the Bulwark and Sentinel complaints are just that's more of really a biased opinion, because I like shorter cooldowns and medium power. I think they're better than longer cooldowns and higher power. I think you want to be right there in the middle. You want to be somewhere between 1.5 minutes and 2 minutes, and you want to have medium power. And I think you'll get the best use out of your CDs most of the time. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions. But more times than not, I think that's where you want to be, at least in my opinion. So I could be wrong on that Bulwark and Sentinel, but.
I mean, the only reason Bulwark would be better, Sentinel would be better for having that higher defensive cooldown in general would be because you're just dealing with people and you're like, man, I need to make this like not hit me at all. I need to make sure this doesn't hit me because the healer I'm with just won't be able to keep me back up quick enough. And like I just need to give them a little bit of extra room. But in the end, it doesn't matter because you're going to use it. You're not going to schedule it for a certain time during the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could. Like, you say there's more damage during this period when this tank buster's coming out, so I need to take less damage at this period. But, I don't know. I agree with you. I mean...
I just don't think that the 10% is worth the extra minute. Like, a minute? A minute?
And then there's very few things in this game where you're just like, holy shit, that extra 10% saved my ass, It's not... It doesn't really come to that. But, like honestly, I share the same opinion with Xeno. Like Bulwark and Sentinel, if they can rework that, the only other thing they really needed to do is give more use to the gauges. Like even if they have to restrict Paladin, like the gauges are just so pointless in my opinion. Especially
you know what? Like real quick though.
Sure.
Cryptix brought up something I was talking about earlier on stream and on State of the Realm is I think Sword Oath needs to be off the GCD. It definitely needs to be off the GCD.
Yeah.
The fact that it's on the GCD is it's actually kind of unfair because the other tanks, they're not penalized for that. So
I mean, I see it as one of those things that like that's just how they wanted to design it, with Paladin to be both of them are on GCD, and then Dark Knight kind of half and half, right? And then Warrior was now you can switch completely whenever you want to and have no penalty to it. That's just part of Warrior. But I figured that's just part of being Paladin. That's one of their disadvantages. And they hopefully have good things in other areas that help them out. But
I just don't think it's fair. Sword Oath isn't fair when it's compared to its counterparts because its counterparts are Deliverance and Dark Side, and both of those are off the GCD. And both of those you also gain instant benefit. And Sword Oath. So when I say instant benefit, I mean I just don't mean the tank stance penalty. I mean the actual damage increase too.
Right.
Because when you switch to Sword Oath, you actually don't gain. Well, okay. So besides of not being in Shield Oath, you don't gain any damage. I think it's for like 2 or 3 GCDs. Yeah, it's like 3. They buffed it to 75, so I don't know if that number is like 2 or 2.5 now, but it used to be 3. Yeah, so when Sword Oath is compared against its counterparts, that is another thing, and it would make Paladin a lot more fluid too, because you could start in Shield, do like 1 Halone, switch to Sword, and then just go about your business if you wanted to. And that's the way I think it should be, because right now on the GCD is really, like in my opinion, you should never pull as if you pull as a Paladin, you should have a ninja, because okay, I don't want to get like too into like the rotation and stuff, but more or less it is really it's a hindrance if you have to use a Rage of Alone first. So if you're a Paladin and you don't have a ninja, just have the other fucking tank, but just have them pull, just have them pull and do your Goring and Requisite Holy Spirit spam. Just do it, trust me.
Sacrificing a GCD, and like that's if Sordos was off the GCD, that'd be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, and that's the other thing I want to, when we talk about like going for the difference in stancing and all that other stuff with Paladin, it sucks. You can't really stance, like you can't be like, oh well, I'm low on enmity. It hits you hard to try to build that enmity up. If for some reason it's not being built within your against your party members that well, and right now, if you're not using 270 accessories, it's hard to keep enmity outside.
It's AIDS.
Oh, it's tough, man. And I definitely feel like that needs to be, and with a Paladin, it used to be not so hard because you do Royal Authority, and Royal Authority had that extra enmity in there, so you kind of had that weird, it didn't work so well with working with another tank, but you had a cheat when you were doing your DPS stance for enmity. And so it's, you don't really like switching unless if you're at cut phases. Like you're at a phase and you're like, nothing's happening here, I can switch because I'm not going to lose anything out of it until I start the next part of the fight. But I know being in shield off at any point is cancer, but there are going to be points where you're like,
I mean sometimes you're going to have to do it. Like, you're going to have to suck it up. But
I wish it could be a point of, it's a cooldown and I don't have to stop attacking to do it. Like, for example, I'm going to lose some extra damage here. I'm going to switch over the Shield Oath, take this Tank Buster, and go back to Sword Oath after. I may lose some points in my meter, right? And I'll lose, I don't know. You're right. That switch, you lose too much.
Yeah.
You lose the meter and you lose 2 GCDs.
Yeah, like, well, Paladin's initial aggro is actually really strong because you have circle and you have a block. You have shield swipe. Mm-hmm. So if it was off the GCD, you could go as far as, like shield lob, bulwark to bait out the shield swipe, fast blade, riot blade, circle of scorn, circle of scorn, shield swipe, and then you could go into sword oath. So sorry about the triple weave, but my point is that you could go into sword oath before your goring blade, and then you could do your requisite spam, and at the same time you'd have gotten off spirits within, a circle of scorn, and a shield swipe. Mm-hmm. So because the circle and the shield swipe provide threat, that threat is going to be way more because you're in shield oath, right? Mm-hmm. So when you switch, it's not going to be near as bad, and you're going to keep your damage. So that's why I say, like, it's actually unfair, very unfair that Sword Oath is still on the GCD.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was thinking about it there, and I was like, man, I can deal with a little bit of a cost there, but that is a pretty heavy cost that we're talking about. So all right. So not too many complaints, but there are some. There are things that we can fix with Paladin. Do you guys, I do want to ask this because this is kind of what Paladin has, or it seems like it's happened to Paladin before, where they fall into this little hole and they're like, hey, I have lots of utility, but it means absolutely nothing. And so, because you can do these fights without that utility, no problem. Do you feel like Paladin is at risk of that, especially after hearing the live letter changes just within the last 24 hours?
Well, it's not even just Paladin. Like, all jobs are at risk of that. Like, yeah. There will come a point in Heaven's Ward. It happened with Dark Knight and Warrior with Path and Delirium, right? Mm-hmm. There will always come a point where you just outgear the content, right? Which is, natural. I think it's healthy for progression, for gear progression at least. Mm-hmm. It gives you a reason to get the gear, right? So, yeah, there will be some utility that will become obsolete on Paladin, but I still don't think that Paladin would be taken out of the meta because their utility isn't needed, just because of their defensive capabilities and offensive. But I don't know. Looking at the normal fights and how much damage the last 2 bosses do, I think Paladin is gonna have a solid spot, almost guaranteed. And that's just me assuming what the mechanics and the damage is going to be like in 03 and 04. Okay. So I think Paladin is pretty solid right now, even with the Holy Spirit nerfs.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be in the spot where it was in 3.x. But the reason why it was in the spot on 3.x, man, and like I've said this multiple times, but it just wasn't because of Paladin. It was a lot of little things that like composed the meta that made Paladin so bad. It was the Savage Blade thing. It was the TP issue thing. It was the fact they couldn't tank with Dark Knight. It was all these little things that all made that way. So that's why, and you can say the same thing about like people saying Warrior was OP in 3.x. That's not necessarily the case. Like Warrior was really, really strong. It was really well designed, but it was more the meta made Warrior more OP than the actual job itself was. Like it was almost like Warrior was like everything that the group needed. Warrior was in the middle. Yo, I got you. You know, it's like, it was just like this, like right in the middle. Like, oh, you need slashing, sweet. Oh, you need home gang, sweet. You know, you need fucking path. You know, awesome. And like, so that's why I don't think that Paladin will ever be, well, at least in this expansion anyway, it will never see like the shit that it saw in 3.x. But it wasn't the Paladin class itself that was the reason why it was so bad. It was just because of the meta and a shit ton of other really little things that made that happen. But like so yeah, going back to what Perez was saying about like the buffs and shit, or about the utility, you're always going to see that with no matter what job, because so in 3.x, for example, take Warrior, right? Path was amazing. Did you ever use it past week 4? Fuck no. No. You didn't use that. Well, I mean, assuming you were clearing the shit, you know what I mean? Like, so assuming you killed it, you know, or whatever. You never use Path just because you didn't need it. So like eventually, now call me crazy, but all this badass utility that we see on Paladin, it's going to be a joke. It's going to be a fucking joke in about a month and a half. Intervention, who cares? Divine Veil, who cares? You know, it's not going to matter anymore because we're going to outgear this shit and the damage is going to be a fucking joke. Like I think in Sav, like, okay, so in 812, right, there's a lot of damage initially that happens in 812. But once you learn how to heal it, the amount of healing spells that you actually throw out in 812 is ridiculously low. It's ridiculously low, even though there's so much damage. It's so low, in fact, that you can fucking take 8 tanks in there to kill it. That's how low the damage is in 812.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you can do that.
Xeno has first-hand experience.
Have you not seen the video?
Oh, of course I have. Man.
Okay, I was, oh man, that was like super chill. I was like, oh my god, I was like, for a second, like you know how the Grinch's heart grew like 4 times as too big. Like my heart grew that big because I was hoping that you hadn't seen it. And I wanted to watch it with you and experience it with you. You know.
All right.
But yeah, like they're the utility and shit, man. It's amazing right now. I'm not downing it, but I tell you what, in about 3 weeks to a month, there's going to be a lull after every single time someone says Passage of Arms. I'm just saying that right now. Passage of Arms, lull in the chat. The chat, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Like, I feel like Passage of Arms is already getting lulled at though, because it's like right now, the fact that, well, I mean, the mitigation it offers is fucking amazing, but there will always be other ways to deal with incoming damage, right? And I just feel like Passage of Arms is this amazing ability in theory, but in practice I feel like it's not going to see much use. I mean, unless you know, the big damage that you need to tank LB3, you know, like obviously you're always going to want to use Patches of Arms, like, but that's very like, there are very few times where you're not attacking the boss, and for whatever reason your party is all clumped together, and you can just mitigate them with the passage of arms in that small radius. You know, it's very, it has very little use, but a utility that Paladin offers that I don't think will ever become obsolete and has amazing use if you actually use it off cooldown and optimize it is cover. And that's because cover is a DPS increaser of the Paladin, and it's basically a free cooldown because of the additional 20% damage mitigation that it offers. So cover, I think we'll see a lot. You will see a lot of use out of cover to buff the Paladin's own DPS so they can get the blocks and shield swipe and the mitigation. But other than that, Divine Veil, you're always gonna want to use it somewhere. Right. Intervention if you're not Sheltroning. So I think Paladin utility is in a good spot. Passage of Arms, overrated as fuck.
Oh, it's completely overrated.
It looks so cool.
It's the coolest fucking ability in the game, but it's also hella...
If it didn't stop you from attacking and like you didn't have to like have people stand behind you, then I think even if people had to stand behind you, it's stopping you attacking was the biggest thing. That's the biggest drawback.
What would make Passage of Arms really OP? Sorry, just real quick.
Oh no, you good.
If it was like Collective Unconscious, where it left the 15% defense buff for 15 seconds instead of having to be in like Sacred Soil kind of thing, then that would be a fucking OP ability, like really OP. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but like Collective Unconscious, basically you stand in it, and then you get the buff and you have it for 15 seconds. Whereas Passage of Arms, you get the buff, but you only have that buff within the radius, within the animation.
Yeah, as soon as it goes away.
If you can keep that buff for 15 seconds, that would be fucking broken, dude. But I don't think Paladin needs that. No. I think we'll pay attention to the other tanks.
Yeah,
you know,
for real. Mentioning other tanks, I guess we can move on. I think we've done okay with Paladin here. I feel like we can move on to the deep dark void of Dark Knight here, which, you know, Dark Knight. There was a lot of heat that they got. They got some heat, man. People aren't really too happy with the simplicity that it turned into with Dark Knight. Regarding that, though, I do want to know what you guys think about Dark Knight in general.
I started to main Dark Knight in Creator, and I got pretty fucking good at it, and I loved it. I love Dark Knight. It was awesome. It was very intricate. It was like walking on a tightrope, kind of balancing your damage and balancing your mana. I like 3.x Dark Knight way more than 4.x Dark Knight, but that doesn't mean that I'm not having a lot of fun with 4.x Dark Knight. 4.x Dark Knight is still really fun. It just became brain dead easy. There are rotations and shit that you can prioritize like a priority system and shit. But as long as you are not capped on mana and you dark arts your abilities, you will deal massive damage. The DPS gains from min-maxing your dark arts blood spillers and your blackest nights during like trick attacks is nowhere near as different as like on a warrior or like a paladin. At least in my experience. I could be doing something wrong. I mean,
I don't know. I'm with you on that.
My vlogs don't say I'm doing things wrong, but I could be doing stuff wrong.
That humble brag, though.
Oh, the humble brag.
Hey, man, it is. Hey, man, it is what it is. It is what it is, man.
All right.
But I will say this though. Since the blood spiller buff, it became more intricate because now instead of thinking, oh, I just got to spam dark arts, now I'm thinking, okay, I got to maximize my Blackest Night because Blackest Night is now a DPS increase. It's like a 13 or 20 or something potency increase. So now that may that may change because they said that they're
that's what I wanted to talk about actually.
Yeah, they said that they're going to change the dark arts potencies and stuff.
Well, the combo potencies are getting
Yeah.
low.
So that may change. So it may go
Yeah.
back to being simple. But
Yeah.
for right now, it's this weird thing where I find myself not using dark arts near as much, and I look for little pockets on where to place my Blackest Night. I'll tell you what, though, that fucking skill is so salt-inducing. The fact that it's 5 seconds, and I don't think people think about this, but server ticks happen in like threes, right? So you'll get this weird bullshit where you'll put your buff, you'll put the Blackest Night on someone, and they'll take like an auto at like 2.5 seconds, and then your shield falls off at 5. So they take the next auto at 5.5 seconds. It's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Just make the buff last 1 second longer. Like that's so. I have put Blackest Night. I have wasted 2400 MP so many times because I've mistimed a fucking server tick. It's unreal. It's unreal.
That is my biggest gripe with Blackest Night. Wow, Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Is that it's really unreliable, and it's such a good ability, but it is very unreliable. And all they need to do is increase the duration to 10, and it would be perfect. That'll be fine. It gives you leeway. If the boss starts casting something, after the cast, they can still get autoed. It'd be perfect.
I mean, that's fair. I feel like 10 isn't that long, so you still have to time it, right? It's not like,
exactly.
But it's not like stupidly close timing.
Right.
5 seconds is really rough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the duration on that needs to last just a little bit longer. I mean, they need to look at it from like, I mean, when they put 5 on that, they literally weren't thinking. They were just like, let's put 5 on there. That's literally the thought process. Let's put 5 on there. That's what they thought. They had no idea. There was no thought behind it. There was no rhyme or reason. They just, that looks like a 5. That looks like an ability that has 5 on it.
That's a 5.
Yeah. So
I can't disagree with you. I don't. I kind of can imagine that, but
honestly, I think they did that because of intervention. I think because intervention was 5 seconds.
Yeah. No, you could be right. Yeah.
I think that is the reason. But even then, intervention is like, it is what it is, right? You only use it on busters. You never use it on fluff damage for DPS gain. Whereas Blackest Night, it is a blatant DPS gain. Well, right now.
Yeah, it's like they're also I really think that's what they did. They were just like, well, Blackest Night and Intervention, same thing, both off TCD. Exactly. And they're really not. They're two completely different abilities with two yes, you use them both for mitigation, but the actual use of them or application is completely different.
We're getting heat from the chat saying that it's 6 seconds.
6 seconds. Fucking crucify
my
me.
bad. No, you know what? What the fuck were they thinking? They should have made Blackest Night 6 seconds and Intervention 5.
God.
What were they thinking? Oh my god. No, chat, please.
Chat, no.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Oh my god. And that's another irritating thing too. I've had to click off Adlos before just to make sure my shield busted. You know how stupid it feels when you have to think, oh fuck, I'm about to click this Adlo off. I need this blood gauge. I need this. And then you click off the Adlo and it falls off and then you die. Because your Blackest Night falls off, and you can't even blame anybody.
See, I thought Blackest Night would have priority over Adlo, right? Like you would think that. I never actually tested it though. I mean, that
should be a thing, but I think, I don't know how. I think it's the first one that was casted. Is that the one that gets hit off first, and then the second one? I can't remember how that design works there. I'm sure somebody in chat knows though, for sure. But I know it goes with highest potency if it's the same spell, but I don't know if that's the same way it would work if it was 2 different ones.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But
we're waiting on you, chat. We're waiting on you guys to tell us. So I do want to ask this, kind of after playing it for a while, you guys were talking about it's not so bad anymore. Are we over the complexity issue with it? Are we okay, well, we're fine with that, the tank's okay now? Or are we it still needs to go back to the good old days?
Well, I think it's complex in its own way. Like I do really miss old Dark Knight. I miss the MP management. It's what made the job fun, and now the MP management is just like it just happens naturally. There's not really much thinking that goes into it. So I am sad about it, but it did make it interesting in the fact that now you have to optimize, when you use dark arts, if you should dark arts this blood spiller because your carbon spit is about to come back. If I dark arts this blood spiller right now, and that means that I'm going to be holding on to this carbon spit for 10 more seconds, which would mean I won't be able to get this carbon spit with this trick attack. So there is some thinking that goes into it, but it is nowhere near the difficulty where it was in 3.0 or 4.0 where right now I'm kind of sad, but I'm learning to love Dark Knight right now because I am having a lot of fun with the job. But come on, man, just bring back 3.0 Dark Knight series.
Yeah,
well, I think 4.0 Dark Knight is really fun. I think it's really fun, and there are some complexities, but I just like, I'm like kind of torn because part of me is glad that they changed it because optimization on Dark Knight was pretty difficult. But for very greedy, selfish reasons, like I enjoy things like that. Like I like the fact that it was so hard, and like when you're using the dark arts at 2k mana and you're timing your the server mana tick down, so you use dark arts and then you dip all the way down to 13 MP, and then you do that siphon strike and you go back up and then you go down again, but you never lose it. That's very, very fucking fun to me. And now I just all my keyboard, my dick, all on the keyboard, and it doesn't even matter. Oh, you got 0 mana? Oh, it's cool. It's cool. Oh, you got 20 mana? Oh, it doesn't matter. So that part is kind of like, but I mean, I still have a lot of fun with it. Okay. I just miss the elitist, toxic part of Dark Knight that made it really fun. I think I fucked my camera up when I was.
Yeah, it went up a little bit. It was kind of funny.
That's okay. Yeah. I fixed it. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I like 3.x better, but it's still really fun now. But
well, I mean, do you feel like it was at a too complex area for people who were just like average players? They're just like, man, getting into this, it takes a lot of work in comparison to the other tanks to kind of figure out Dark Knight? Or was it just like, screw it, that's kind of how that tier was, and maybe they have a little bit more reward because you're playing a more complex job? That's
why I said I was kind of torn, because part of me misses it, but the other part is it makes it easier for people to play. Because I mean,
there were some really bad Dark Knights out there.
Yeah, there were.
Dark Knights.
There's still bad Dark. I had a Dark Knight in a fucking dungeon that didn't have Dark Side on. What is the excuse for not having Dark Side on? You literally turn it on and it never goes off unless you die. What is the excuse?
Yeah.
What's the excuse?
Well, like before there was the, oh shit, I don't want to lose too much MP because your MP would tick lower and lower. It's like so before, you could justify the shitters in some sense, but still now you would never ever think to pull something without Dark Side. Ever. There's literally no reason to.
So people were actually running around just maybe they're just used to how the ability worked before, and they were not a great Dark Knight before, and they're like, oh, it hurts my mana, and so they just didn't want to get into it. I don't know. That's really weird to hear. It reminds me of I don't know, the one tank I played with in WoW that start just punching stuff after we told them they was a ret paladin, we need to be a protection paladin. You guys never played WoW. Well, Xeno, you never played WoW, right?
I've heard many things about WoW, but I've never. Well, I played it a little bit, but not enough to really form a solid fucking opinion of it. Yeah.
I never actually played WoW, no.
Yeah.
But
It was so basically. Let's just imagine this: you're in like you're playing Dark Knight right now, right? You're going into a dungeon. Then you're a tank. This guy goes in there and he says, "All right, if you could change jobs," he just changes to a ninja for no reason at all. He just changes to a ninja. And you're like, "Hey, man, you're supposed to be a tank. You need to go in there and you need to tank and stuff." And then he just throws his daggers on the floor and starts punching things. That was the situation that I ran into on WoW. So,
feels bad, man.
It just like
bad,
it didn't make any sense. But those players exist. There's people like that, and so we have these limitations. Like if you go in as a tank, you're a tank. You can't take your weapon up because then you change your job. But I'm kind of happy with Final Fantasy for that after going into WoW and seeing that stuff. But anyways, back to the topic. I mean, like Dark Knight, it losing its complexity. I feel like it sucks. It sucks kind of seeing that. But at the same time, you know, more people are going to be able to play it now. I feel like it wasn't as accessible before. I mean, after you got used to it, of course, you're like, oh, this is easy. But you had to really get into it. It was a much deeper curve to learn, I think. Sorry, I had a hiccup.
Yeah, I think it still has. I mean, the complexity is still there. It's just not as, at least in my opinion, it's just not as rewarding as it used to be, and that's pretty much the only. I mean, outside of that, I think it's in a great spot. I think Blackest Night's fucking awesome. I still think Shadow Wall needs to be on 2 minutes. I've said that since the fucking class came out in 3.x.
Yeah,
but
honestly, I think the one thing that's good about Dark Knight is that it has the most freedom out of all the tanks. And what I mean by that is like Paladins and Warrior, if you this is going to get very min-maxy. Look it up. That's actually a word in the dictionary.
I'm sure.
It's like Paladin, if you hold on to your Requiscat for like a combo, you're sitting on full MP, right? And you know, you're hindering your damage, right? And if you sit on your fight or flight too long, you might clip into your Requiscat being up. So obviously you don't want to use Requiscat with fight or flight. So there is like these penalties that you have. But with Dark Knight, I feel like there isn't really much penalties with Dark Knight anymore. And that's
I totally agree.
That's what makes it I think fun in a way, because I could use Dark Arts this GCD or the next GCD, it won't fucking matter because I'm still gonna have the same amount of Dark Arts usage at the end of the fight. You know,
Right.
like so in terms of like freedom and just letting the player do what the fuck they want and still being a viable tank, that's what makes Dark Knight fun for me. And before on Dark Knight, you really could not do that. Like if you use too many Dark Arts, you were fucked completely. Like you lose pretty much all your tanking capabilities. You can't turn on grit, you know, but right now I really like Dark Knight because of that. You know, I can do whatever the fuck I want and be 100 percentile. It's great.
Yeah, it's really good on certain fucking mechanics, like on the stuns and like knockbacks and shit like that, where your damage is hindered no matter what you can do. So like if like just based on the two primals we have, because that's pretty much all we have to go off of outside of the normal mode. But so like take Susano, for example, during the stun phase, it's least punishing for the Dark Knight to get stunned. So the Dark Knight should never be tanking there, because this is exactly what you said. If like a Paladin is a very strict but simple rotation. You use your fight or fly here, you use your requisite here, and if you fuck up too much, you're going to get in this weird thing where they're both up at the same time, and then I don't know what to do, you know. Yeah, exactly. And like Warrior is the most punished. Oh my god, Warrior is the most punished.
Square Enix fucking developed Susano so that you would get stunned as soon as you come in a release, dude.
Oh my god, I hate it. Yo, Warrior's next. Warrior's next.
Let's do this. Next. Is there anything left that you guys want to say on Dark Knight before we go into Warrior?
Yeah, it's all right.
You're good. Yeah,
I like
it. I like it. It's all right, man. It's good. Okay.
It's a good tank.
At first, I hated the delirium skill. Like I hated it on paper. Just restores mana and gives like 8 extra seconds, but it's actually really good. Leveling it sucks ass. It doesn't get good until like it gets okay when you get Quietus, which I'm glad they're buffing Quietus, by the way, because Quietus, right? Yeah. They're I'm almost positive that I heard that they were going to buff Quietus.
They should.
Yeah, because right now it's only a DPS increase unless there's 4 more mobs. No, 3 more. It's either 3 or 4. But
3.
Yeah,
I think
it needs a buff. It needs a buff. Yeah. That's my point. Is it needs a buff because
needs to be a DPS increase on 2 mobs.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if you're spending 50 blood gauge on 2 mobs, I mean, come on. They could also make it ignore the. See, that's another thing too. Is it doesn't actually ignore the grit penalty either, like Blood Spiller does, which I don't know why that doesn't and Blood Spiller does, and I don't know why they worded Blood Spiller so ridiculous. Why does it have 5 million different potencies? Just say it ignores the penalty of grit. How hard is that? That's like one sentence, but they got like 5 million lines of like different. You got the potency, you got the grit potency, you got the dark arts potency, the grit dark arts potency, the dark arts on the dark arts on the grit on the dark arts potency. It's like, holy fuck, dude. Just say ignores the penalty of grit. That's it. You know, that's all you gotta say, man. It's like they're trying to like slick dick their way into like, oh, this move is different than Inner Beast. Oh, it's different because it doesn't ignore the penalty of grit. It just deals more damage. Isn't that the same fucking thing? Like, holy shit. Just make it simple. I'm pretty sure no one is going to care that it's this. Like, no one is going to be like, well, my Blood Spiller is just like Inner Beast, so I feel like I'm playing Warrior when I'm on Dark Knight. No one is going to fucking say that. No one's going to say that, and if they do, they should get in their vehicle and drive off a fucking cliff because they're fucking retarded. No one is going to say that shit, you know?
Here comes
like,
the bully.
Just fucking, just say it.
Let me get a bully icon out.
Does that not trigger anyone else, man? Does that not trigger anyone else?
It does trigger me a bit. And like when I saw the tooltip, I'm like, come on, man. I can't read all this.
Like I am a very dumb human, right? And I'm very, I'm bad with math. I'm very dumb. And when I saw all those combo potencies, like I was just like, I don't even know what to look at. I thought I was staring at one of those optical illusions. I thought a ship was going to fly out at me after I looked at the potencies. Like it was ridiculous. Just say it ignores the penalty of grit. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, man. Okay. Anyway, so I'm done talking about that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Hold on. I got a bully thing going on right now, and I'm working on it. I'll get up here in a second.
But real quick, like touching on Dark Knight, Quietus, I feel like it'd be a shame if we didn't talk about Dark Passenger.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay,
dude.
let's do it.
There is no method to that madness.
Oh my god.
You can't justify it at all. People are like, but like if you use Dark Passenger on X amount of mobs as a DPS, it's not. It will never be a DPS increase. It just will not be a DPS increase. And it's sad because Dark Passenger was a DPS increase single target.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made it amazing. You know? And now it's just like this ability that's just there. And every single time I press Dark Passenger, I say, fuck, I just pressed Dark Passenger.
I had to take it off my hotbar because I kept hitting it.
I'm going to do that. I literally am going to do that. No joke.
That's depressing, man. I'm really depressed to hear that.
Yeah, it is depressing.
So for the people that don't understand why it's not a DPS increase, here is why it's not a DPS increase. It's because Dark Passenger, yes, it's off the GCD, but Dark Knight is about converting mana into potency. So because all of your AoE outside of Quietus is mana, so it kind of doesn't matter that it's off the GCD because basically you have X amount of mana, you have X amount of mana to convert into potency. So basically by spamming Abyssal Drain, you're not only gaining 30 potency, but it's literally like 1,000 less mana. Yep. So so basically, just to make things simple, you get 2 abyssal drains for every 1 dark passenger, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you're getting 260 potency for the same amount of mana that you spend on dark passenger, and you only get 100. So you're basically gaining 160 potency. Now the only argument is, well, what if you're capped on mana? Well, you done fucked up in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
You done fucked up in the first place because you've already fucked up by being overcapped on mana. Why the fuck are you overcapped on? Just spam Abyssal Drain. How are you overcapped on mana? You know
what's sad when like the only use I could think of for Dark Passenger is using the blind effect on like a big dungeon pool.
I've had to do that because of the healer.
Dude, like that's the only thing I can think of.
And then like, you want to kill yourself because you just blew like
4,800 mana.
4,800 mana for 100 potency. Or well, I guess it has a dark arts potency buff, but yeah,
which is
Jesus, man.
It's still not enough.
It's still not enough. No,
it's still not enough.
No,
it's actually. I don't think it's worse. I think it's a little bit better than just using it straight up compared to an Abyssal Drain. But I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, like the nerf to that was really unnecessary.
So good.
It's a really cool looking move too, which is unfortunate. Yeah. And it's
the sound that it makes. Oh man, I don't know. If it has a really good. Anyways, I make ASMR. That might be how I fall asleep.
Oh yeah, fucking Worry brings up a good point in chat. Is blood price. The blood price nerf was kind of unnecessary too.
How are we forgetting this shit?
It's just.
Come on, are you guys supposed to be like Dark Knight people?
You know why? It's because we're never in grit, so we don't ever use that ability anyway. So it's like, but if they're gonna lock it behind grit, they shouldn't have nerfed the amount of mana that you receive. Like that's way overkill. Like they're not only nerf the amount of mana that you receive, but they also lock it behind grit. Like maximizing your blood price use without grit was one of the really cool things in 3.x. But they shouldn't have done both. If they were going to lock it behind grit, okay, whatever, that sucks. But at least don't nerf the amount of mana that you gain back. It should have been one or the other, not both.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they could nerf the fucking mana and not gain it behind grit. Like I feel like that would be the best option. Just because like it synergizes with your blood gauge, which would make Dark Knight actually really strong. It would make it a very viable Dark Knight. And actually, you could argue that having a Dark Knight main tank may be better than having a Paladin main tank because of blood price, even with the fucking MP potency nerf. You know, but Square Enix, I don't know, man. Doing some.
Yeah, I think that was the reason why they locked it behind grit, was because they wanted every tank to be both. They wanted every tank to be just as good at off tanking as they were main tanking,
which is good.
But I think that was the reason that they locked it behind grit. Like I don't know, but
that's my reasoning behind it as well, actually.
There's a quick question here from Mix Them Out. What do you think of Soul Eater almost being a fell cleave? To me, it just seems like a band-aid to the kit.
Well, I mean, Soul Eater had really high potency in 3.x2. It was like 400 potency. I mean, it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost, like mana, like that. It just goes back to converting mana into potency. So it's like so it's just you're converting mana into potency. You're converting rage into potency. It's the same concept. It's just on a different class. So it's not really like, I don't think it's really like a band-aid fix per se. I just think that I just think it's another way to convert the gauge into damage. That's all it is really. It's just another way to do that. But I don't know.
I agree.
Do we feel content with Dark Knight?
Fuck, did we forget anything else? Fucking
let me see.
Dark Passenger. Just pull up their fucking skill list real quick. Hold on.
No, actually.
Just pull up the skill list.
Oh man.
Let me think real quick.
I think. Well, I haven't played a lot of Dark Knight since the expansion came out.
It's a lot of fun. Oh, the Unleashed nerf. That was unnecessary. Why would you nerf Unleashed to fit? Like, come on, man.
They're trying to make it like Flash. I don't want it.
All that nerf does is make lower level dungeons go by slower. That's all it does. Literally. It doesn't. It's not like people are spamming Unleashed. Well, it's not like players that can read tooltips spam Unleash in high level dungeons. It's just, I just feel like that was a stupid nerf. And did you notice that instead of just when they buff the threat on the tanks, instead of buffing the potency, they just buff the enmity? Like, just buff, just give us 100 potency back. Come on, man. Was it really that overpowered?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really that bad?
Fucking apparently, dude. The Unleashed nerf was very unnecessary. I agree 100%.
Scourge? Bring back Scourge?
Oh!
Scourge?
Man!
I cheated. I read that in chat. Someone at Xeno'd me. I saw I cheated. But I think I'm just... Scourge is like Scourge is like a long-lost lover, and they've died. And you've just moved on by erasing them from your memory, and I think that's why I forgot. But now that I remember that Scourge existed and how cool it was, and the animation, and I'm sad now.
Yeah.
Oh,
really
I wish they'd bring it back.
It's funny because like Fracture got the same treatment, and it was literally the same thing for Warrior. No one gave a flying fuck.
Scourge was so good. It was like lower TP. It was a fell. It was like 500 potency.
It's that animation, man. Dude. Holy shit! The amount of screenshots I've taken with that animation.
Dude, it was an awesome move. It was an awesome move.
Did you throw Scourge in the trash off your action bar?
Unfortunately.
Oh my god.
Did you ever read like the debuff on the mob? It said something like causing like inner torment. It was super edgy. Even the tooltip was cool. Everything about Scourge was badass. Everything about Scourge was badass. Sometimes I'd Scourge an enemy, I'd throw on the RP tag. They'd be like, yeah, take that inner torment. That's what I do sometimes. I'd hover over it as I read it to myself, and I'd like look around, make sure no one is around, so I'm not embarrassing myself in front of anyone. Yeah, fucking torment. That's
bad. That's what a bully feels like, man.
Yeah, but eats you up inside.
That's why you're a bully, dude. Look at this.
That's what those people like when they type out comments. That's what they say to themselves. They're like, yeah, this is gonna fucking make them feel bad.
This is going to cause some inner turmoil.
No, but the tooltip was really cool. I used to read it all the time. I was just like, that's a cool tooltip. Yeah, I like that shit.
Oh my god. All right. We can unleash the warrior if you guys want to unleash the warrior now. We can go into all the wonderful things you guys have to say about warrior. Warrior is in a pretty good spot, isn't it? It's doing okay. It didn't fall down like we thought it might.
Hey man, it just was released untested. That's all it was. Man.
As is pretty much every other job.
So
probably.
I do want to say this. A lot of people, of course, at first were like, "Warrior's dead. Warrior's horrible. Warrior's the worst in the world. Warrior, what the, why Warrior?" And very depressed. Okay, so after you guys had some time to actually use Warrior a little bit more, did your feelings change a little bit? Were you starting to be like, well, Warrior's not so bad? Or is it still just, disregarding the live letter?
Yeah, so when I made an initial Warrior video, and it got a lot more reaction than I thought. Like, I didn't even think half those many people even gave a shit about what I fucking thought about it. But I was like, holy shit, like there's a lot of mad people on this video. And like I tried to bring like humor of the situation, like 8 rage and 3 rage and like people thought I was really mad, or I was just trying to, I'm just having fun, this is a dumbass fucking design, let's make fun of it. But like there was a lot of other people that asked me that exact same question, and my opinion on Warrior was unbiased because I like Warrior is my favorite job. I love Warrior. I've main Warrior since 2.0. It will always be it will most likely always be my favorite job, and I'll always main it. But that doesn't mean that I have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Warrior to me is like it's like I'm married to it. It's like I love you, but I hate you right now. Like, go away. I don't like you right now. Go away, shoo. You know? And like the beast gauge, trash. Like, shake it off, trash. Onslaught is still the only reason why Onslaught is good is because of the bad design of the beast gauge versus the GCDs.
Yeah,
you build your gauge faster than your berserk comes up, so you basically get a free onslaught. That doesn't make it good. That just makes it that just means that that's bad design, you know? So it's like my issues with Warrior wasn't because I was like baby raging or I was like super upset. It was literally just fundamental flaws with the class.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people actually argued the half of the beast gauge. Like when you swap, I got some comments. You need to learn how to manage your rage, learn the mechanics,
so, you
and
you
then
do need
get
to learn how
good.
to manage your rage.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, guess what? Fucking, I got good. My evaluation, it's still shit. It's still shit. That's my evaluation. I managed my rage. I got good. I did everything everyone said. And you know what? It's still shit. And they know it's shit. That's why they fixed it. You know what else was shit? Was Shake It Off. And no, look, they fixed that too. The crazy overseas bald man was right. Ah, man, crazy. He's crazy. You know? Holy shit, man. People actually defended that. They're like, well, but what if you get a mechanic and you can, and you shake it off. Like, okay, that's cool, but I'd rather have a fucking ability that I could use 100% of the time instead of 1% of the time. Mm-hmm. Like, are you kidding me? Like, do you even realize what you're saying? Are you listening to yourself? You just saying things to say them? Because I think you are.
It's like literally someone mains a job and it becomes their baby. They're gonna defend it no matter how shit it gets. You know, I'm sure if you were to nerf Samurai into the ground, people are still gonna defend it just like they did Monk and Paladin back in 3.0.
Hey, no one defended Paladin back in 3.x. What are you talking about, dude?
You know, good on you, man.
There was some diehard Paladins, man. No. In my heart, I was on Team Paladin. I was like, they need to make some changes. This is fucked up that they did this to this class. Mm-hmm. And I was on Team Paladin in my heart. Do you see the poster? Do we need to show them the poster? We need to show these nerds the poster. Because Paladins are fucking coming back, dude.
Dude, let me
main tank. Main tank. Fuck remember, yeah.
Dude, back in Midas, we tried I went in as Paladin in Midas. Like, we were determined to make that work. You remember that?
Oh, I remember, dude.
And we just went double Warrior after.
Yeah, and then we were like, Warrior's really good on 7 and 8.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, a lot of the Warrior mains, like, you didn't even, like, want Paladin to fail or, like, want Warrior to be, like, the meta in 6 expansions to come. Like, some of us really liked Paladin and we're really sad that Paladin wasn't a thing.
I mean, I was I still made it a thing. I was like, screw it, dude, we're just gonna make it work. We're just gonna go in there and we're gonna have Paladin, we're gonna play it, and it's gonna happen because I want to do it. And so fucking I went in there, we did A12S with Paladin, dude. We made it work.
Hell yeah, you just gotta say fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
Although Xeno was there for the clear with our A12S. Funny
I
enough.
was really happy I was there. Like, I was sad that you guys didn't clear it as a group first, but on a very selfish level, I was like, yes, I was there for their first kill. Yes,
we did it.
I was there.
And that was pretty awesome too. Like, that was weird. That was a weird situation. We had our other tank with us who was also a warrior. Just he wasn't Xeno. He was just my buddy. I play with a lot of people who are good at the game, but they're not Xeno. They're not like
I'm trash at this game. I can't even pop Vril. What are you talking about, dude? Vril is the hardest mechanic I've ever encountered in my life.
Vril is the easiest mechanic in the entire world.
Oh my god!
Dude. Come on.
I pop it I get hit, it takes my shield off, and I think that I still have a shield off. That sounds easy. That sounds so easy. I wish I lived in a world where that was easy, but unfortunately, I don't. I mean, like in our speedrun strat, I actually just hollowed that chimichanga vril. I just say fuck it because, well, there were other reasons too, but one of the reasons was I kept dying on it because I kept fucking forgetting to pop a vril. I was like, damn.
That's the thing, dude. You gotta pop a cooldown and vril. Are you kidding?
You don't have to pop a cooldown, really. If you're geared up, you're just like, you pop it, you should.
Well, like now, now you can do this slick dick thing where a buddy of mine told me, and we started to do it. You do this slick dick thing where you use a vril on one of the normal busters so you don't take any damage, and then on the chimichanga buster you pop hollowed like at the last second, and you have the other tank Voke, so then you hollowed the pole and the blue marker.
That's some slimy shit.
Yeah, that's some cheese.
I would say that's slimy. I would say
that's
amazing. That's where Paladin shines. Man, hollowed ground, 7-minute cooldown. You can use it for that. All right. I can't be upset.
Hey man, if the fight's only like fucking, like 5 minutes, you're only gonna get like one of those anyway, Right. So
okay, so Warrior, I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that it made them not as desirable. Like they just weren't wonderful. But when we get into what they announced yesterday, there's a lot of stuff changing, man. They're gonna increase the potency, is what they said, right? They're gonna increase overall tank potency for Dark Knight and Warrior.
Yeah, they were kind of maybe I took this a different way than other people, but they were a little vague. Because they said that Warrior and Dark Knight potencies will increase. They said potencies, like plural, So, but they only mentioned Storm's Path and the Dark Arts. So I don't know if that means only those abilities, or if that means that's just kind of like a sample, like, we're just going to give you one example kind of thing.
Right.
I'm leaning towards it was the one example type of thing, but I don't know if that's just because I'm being hopeful, or I don't know if that's actually what it is.
It was silly, and like the way they described the Warrior buff, it's like we're gonna increase the potency of the Storm's Path combo, but it's like, okay, well, if you increase the potency of the Storm's Path combo, then the Storm's Eye combo would have a potency increase because of MAME, right? So I don't know, like the wording was very, like I didn't really understand it much. And if they did increase the Storm's Path combo, meaning like that would mean Path would probably have more potency than Eye, which would
or the same. But regardless, it would be not a huge, but it would be a significant damage increase, because like right now, Warrior thread generation is actually pretty good because you can fit a block in. So you basically, because the skill speed is so high and you overcap on rage anyway, you're going to go like path, and then depending on the situation, /block, and then another eye. So that block combo right there, you're actually going to do, and it should line up with your Zerk as well, like your off Zerks, like meaning your non-release Zerks. So not only do you do a block, but you also do onslaught, which onslaught, even though the potency is kind of shitty, the threat is crazy high for some fucking weird reason. Yeah, it's really fucking high.
If you combo that with like a Zerk, and like I don't know, like I feel like if they buff the potency on onslaught, that would be ridiculous. Fucking enmity.
If they buff the potency of onslaught and kept it, so like if they kept it at 20 rage and 200 potency, that would actually change the Warrior rotation completely, because now it would be a DPS increase to spam it. And I just don't know why it just feels awkward that it costs rage. I just think it should just be like shoulder tackle. I don't understand why it's not just like shoulder tackle.
Or I think it's just because they have the fucking hate attached to it, and they think like, oh well, Warriors are gonna want to do this, right? Because it gives aggro.
That's true. That's a really good point.
But like I don't know. Yeah, I don't like it, but that is the only way I can justify why Square Enix did that.
Someone in Discord made a really funny comment. They said, plunge, no threat. You can pull whenever you want. Onslaught has threat. You can't pull whatever you want. You can't pull with it. So you have Dark Knights pulling with a non-threat move. But what kind of sense does that make? Oh, dude, that's really funny.
I really don't understand.
Yeah.
But,
good.
Yeah. I don't know. Onslaught. I think that's just, it needs a lot of work. And I was kind of sad that they didn't mention anything outside of Defiance and Deliverance and the Rage not being affected. And the potency of Storm's Path and Shake It Off, I guess. Like, I was really hoping they were going to say something about Onslaught.
Mm-hmm.
But
no. Well, they see, that goes back to they said just general, like, Warrior and Dark Knight potencies will be increased. Mm-hmm. So it could still see a change. They just, for some reason, Square Enix loves their cryptic bullshit. They love being secretive and shit. So for whatever reason, they're like, yes, we know this and you don't. It's like, whatever, fuck off, fuck you, whatever, So yeah, I want to know it too. God damn it. Fuck. God damn it. Yes, I want to know it. Oh, they know I want to know it.
Yeah, just teasing you, dude.
But like, they could still change it though. Mm-hmm. They could still change it. So I don't know.
So,
but
besides like the potency increase, one of the big things that they kind of mentioned was the Shake It Off, and they were going to work on that. They didn't really say what they're going to do though, right?
Yo, I got some predictions.
I want to hear it.
Okay.
I got some fucking predictions, yo.
Let's hear it.
So me and collective of secretive warrior mains, we're getting together, right? And we're putting our heads together. And I think that Shake It Off is going to be the new Vengeance. And let me explain a little bit for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. So back in the day, for all you OGs out there, Vengeance was awful. It was awful. It was a 2-minute cooldown. I think 2 minutes. It may have been 3. I don't know. But
I can't remember.
Had no mitigation, and all it did was the reflect.
Yep.
That's how bad it was, right? Mm-hmm. But then you throw on some mitigation, and it's like the best fucking shit ever, right? I bet you Shake It Off is going to do something with, like, whenever you take damage, you're just fucking shaking off the damage, and you get rage. With every damage you take, you build rage. So it's going to be like Blood Price, but for Warrior. It's either going to be that, or it's going to be you use it and you automatically fills all your rage. Or it could be like a Delirium for Warrior, right? Where it extends Berserk. So you're crazy for longer. So instead of 6 Fell Cleaves, you get in like 7 or some crazy shit.
Man, holy.
I think you guys are being too
we've
ambitious.
Been thinking, man. We've been thinking,
I think you're being too ambitious with it, Xeno. You know what it's going to do?
All right, man. All right.
It's just going to say, for the next 10 seconds, nothing bad will happen to you.
No way. They know they fucked up. They know they fucked up.
It's going to say, no tempered, it's going to be the Warrior Tempered Will.
Oh, God.
Yikes. Please no.
Yeah.
Please no.
Oh, man. I like how they said that Shake It Off will be adjusted. Plans for adjustments are currently being talked over and will be implemented sometime after 4.5. I read that as
4.5.
This ability is 4.05.
Okay.
What I say, 4.5?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's like, 4.05.
No. So I read this as there are so many things that we can do to this piece of shit ability to make it better that we just don't even know. We just don't even know. We just don't even fucking know, because this ability is so bad. It's so bad that you could literally do anything to it to make it better. It's that bad. It's like Warriors didn't even get an ability. What is this? A 68 ability? Yeah.
68 ability.
Yeah. Warriors didn't even get a 68 ability.
Shake It Off wouldn't even be that bad if they just, like, it didn't have the 68 slot, right? Because all your 60 to 70 abilities are fucking badass, right? Well, I mean, not for Warrior, because onslaught. And
How
shake
many
it off.
abilities did
Everyone
Warrior get
else,
again? Did they get 5 abilities?
They got
They have 4 in one
onslaught, shake it off,
Okay.
upheaval, and IR. So
Okay.
yeah, four.
Just
yeah.
making sure, because like everyone got skipped like a level basically, and they got to trade instead of like getting that like ability. They just got to trade. Okay. Just want to make sure there's something weird, but okay. So shake it off. There's a billion things they can do. You guys are hopeful that it's going to be amazing.
Oh, we know.
Okay.
We know. Hey, man. What
if every
in
time
my
you
heart
hit
of
it,
hearts, I believe.
What if every time you hit it, it just start playing Taylor Swift?
I mean, hey, you know what? The animation's really cool. Sometimes I hit it just
the animation
the animations are really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really awesome. Like sometimes I hit it just to.
I mean, I do that
cool.
with my wings, dude. My Paladin wings.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna. There's no point where I want to stop attacking during this fight. Whatever. I'm in the middle of his limit break. Wings during the cutscene. Why not? What's the point?
They're fucking RP abilities at this point, dude. Like, come
on. So there is one huge thing that. Okay, so in a release, in my opinion, that is it's probably one of the worst cooldowns ever to be put in this game. And the reason why is because of its long, has multiple reasons. It has a really long cooldown, which means that it makes lining up with mechanics a lot more punishing. And if you don't get in the entire, basically, if your window is not absolutely perfect, then you're gonna end up at a weird rage number, like at a 5. And not only that, but the damage increase that it gains, or that you gain from it, is not worth it being on such a long cooldown. And finally, the probably the best reason, or well, I guess the worst reason, is it shares a cooldown with Unchained, which makes Unchained virtually unusable. Like virtually unusable. I'm not going to say it is unusable, because if you pull on a warrior during prog, Unchained is still going to be really good, but it's going to hinder your damage by a lot, which is going to be a thing. It might not be a thing for the first like few pulls, 5 pulls, 10 pulls, whatever, but eventually you're not going to fucking pull with that move anymore, because you're going to want to use your buff. So the fact that it shares a cooldown with one of the best tanking abilities in the game is horrendous. Like, they really need to just separate it needs a buff. IR needs a buff. It needs either its cooldown reduced, or it needs to give you damage on top of the rage cost reduction.
Or instead of taking away rage, it just gives you 100 rage. I think that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, or that too. Yeah, because then that's pretty much the same. I mean, that's pretty much the same. Like it's just like right now, it really, really, really fucking sucks when you only get because you can't even open with it. So you're already out of one of them. So you're already out of one because you're going to want a ninja, and you're going to want to do the 4 fell cleave, 1 upheaval opener. I've done a lot of testing, and I was pretty sure that getting those abilities inside a trick is better, but I wanted to test the long duration of the fight or whatever, and it is what I found. It is better to get it in trick. So
is that the 21-second trick, or
no? It's the 6-second one. If you use that, so there's like another trick where it is like at 21 seconds, and for that one you're going to use the 6 fell cleave. But if you do the normal like 5th 6 GCD trick, then you're going to use the 4 plus upheaval.
See, I actually never tried that. I would always do the 6 fell cleave.
Yeah, because you get the way it works is you get in two fell cleaves plus an upheaval, a heavy swing, and a maim. Sometimes you get in the maim, sometimes you don't. But you get in 2 fell cleaves and an upheaval, and that's just like a fucking burst of damage.
Okay.
And it's all in the trick. But like basically you're already down one activation of it. So later in the fight, like on Susano, for example, there is a stun phase, unless you're killing the boss really fast. There is a stun phase where the warrior is not going to be tanking. During that stun phase, that is so punishing. Like basically, the move is extremely punishing when you fuck it up, or well, not even when you fuck it up, but when you can't fit it in somewhere, it's extremely punishing, and it doesn't line up very well with other shit. And I mean, I know it's on a 2-minute cooldown and trick is on a minute, but it takes right now it takes an excessive amount of work to get in 6 fell cleaves in an upheaval, and trying to fit the fell cleaves and upheaval during that trick window is it's I'm not going to say it's like it's too hard. It's just the upside is not worth the work. That's what I'm trying to say.
Very rarely ever fit that in, actually.
Yeah, like the potency gain is not worth the amount of work that you put into it. That's what I'm trying to say. When like, so for instance, like a paladin, they just do requisite and then they cast the same move 4 fucking times in a row. You know, so so it's just right now IR, in my opinion, is really bad because it's too punishing and it's not very rewarding. That's, I guess, this basically the gist of what I'm getting at is it's not very rewarding and it's too punishing. So that's why I think it needs to be changed.
Real quick, use the open where you do the 2 fell cleaves upheaval in a path within trick. Would that stagger it enough so you wouldn't get stunned in Susanoo while you have inner release up? Because if that's true, then I think I'm gonna start doing that in Susanoo.
For the opener, I just do the 4, but then when he comes back down, like after the sword, you should be able to do, I think it's either 3 or 4 GCDs after he comes back down, and that gives you enough time to build up and use your 6 fell cleave, so you should be able to get in all of that there. But then on the second stun phase, it just really see, and that's another thing, right? Because if the ninja gets stunned, they can't trick. Sorry, I don't want to assume their gender. They can't trick. So then that sets you back. Well, now you're overcapped on rage because you already used an onslaught. So now you're just like wasting rage. So it's just really but it's just really awkward to use sometimes because of the long duration. Like if it was on a minute, like, okay, you missed a fell cleave this time, just in a minute everything's up again, so who fucking cares, just try it again, but like right now it's like 2 minutes apart, you don't even get one in the opener. It's just like just really aids to use,
honestly. I think if they just announced one thing and they made in a release give 100 rage instead of take away rage, and then they also did the same thing with Unchained, I think like they don't have to fuck with anything else. I think that'd make Warrior ridiculously strong because they can line up their burst with everything else with the 5-second trick. And it would add a new dynamic to the job, because now you'd want to expend all your rage before you go into your inner release, so I am kind of sad that, because I've been hoping they were going to do this for a while now, but I guess I'm just gonna keep on dreaming. Keep on dreaming.
Kamara here asked a question. If you put inner release kind of shared with, like, it's still shared with Unchained, however, if you switch the stances, the buff changes, also just like inner beast and fell cleave.
It wouldn't be that doesn't solve the issue. The reason why it doesn't solve the issue is because if you use Unchained at the beginning, like basically when you use release there, if you don't get in your 6 fell cleaves and your upheaval, the damage loss is like tremendous. And there's not really, like, that cooldown doesn't yield you some crazy high amount of damage in the first place anyway, because your normal shit is going to have three fell cleaves, 3 fell cleaves and an upheaval. So basically for a 2-minute cooldown, you're getting 1500 potency. well, I mean, there's a lot of different factors that go into that, but more or less just the baseline is that will provide you with three fel cleaves. So like it's not really, you should be able to use them independently because they have different usages, right? So like one is used for tanking, the other is used for damage, like obviously. So when you pull with Unchained, you basically, by them sharing a cooldown, you're never going to want to use you're never going to want to use Unchained, because even if you could Unchain and then switch to Deliverance and your buff would be running, you're still going to miss those fel cleaves. Like you're still going to miss that damage because you've already burnt like your rage. So it wouldn't really solve any of the issues. At least I don't think so.
Okay. All right, so I do want to ask you guys a little bit about we talked about it a little bit, but the whole switching with warriors between your different stances and losing your gauge and everything else. Now they're taking that away completely. Do you think that's the proper solution to that? Like, do you think that that's... I feel like 100% sure you guys agree that it should not take away from your beast gauge. But for some reason, I always treat it as like maybe that's just a new challenge they threw out there. Maybe that's
I think it just made it overly clunky for no reason.
I thought it was just bad design, actually.
Yeah, they just didn't test it.
When you factor in the fact that you can only swap when you're at a multiple of 10, and if you were to swap at any other number, then you would be at a multiple of 5, which literally does nothing to you. That's nothing but bad design to me. And I think it's kind of funny that they didn't, like, Paladin had the same thing, but it didn't affect it at all.
Yeah, because none of their gauge is offensive.
Well, yeah, exactly. Offensively,
and their shit's off the GCD too. That's another thing.
Whereas Warrior, like, their defensive abilities, their offensive abilities, everything was dependent on that rage. And the fact that it would half it, it's just like, okay, well, I guess I'm never going into Defiance, or I'm never tank swapping. Good luck, healers.
Yeah.
Pop your fucking diversion, Shadewalker me, because I am not going into Defiance. Unless I'm at 0. Then sure, I'll do it. But other than that,
Yeah, like it doesn't make much sense when a job that they just didn't test it, because Warrior has 8 abilities that are based off that gauge, both offensive and defensive. Paladin has, I don't even know why Paladins have a fucking gauge in it. The only reason Paladins have a gauge is because every other fucking job has a gauge. That's the only reason. Intervention could easily be put on like a fucking minute cooldown or 30 seconds or whatever the fuck it is, and Sheltron could go back on 30 seconds. The only reason why Paladins even have a gauge in the first place is because every other job has a gauge. Like, they threw the gauge on there last minute. They're like, oh, fuck, what are we going to do? What are we going to just put a gauge on there? That's literally, there was no like intricate system of levers and pulleys and collection of scientists that were like, this oak gauge. Ooh, we're going to be thinking about this. No, none of that shit. They just threw it on there last minute. And the fact that the Paladins lose half their gauge, it literally doesn't matter, because before you swap, you just off GCD that shit, like just spin that shit, and then you're fucking solid, And it's like, I do find it ironic that in Shield Oath, to build your gauge you have to block, but you have to block to get a block ability.
Yeah.
So you have to block a lot just so you can have a block. For some reason, I just think that's really funny. Like, why? It's just very funny to me for some reason. That it's just because when I first played Paladin, I was in Shield Oath, and I was like, man, I wish I had a fucking Sheltron. Oh wait, I need to block so I can use a block. What the fuck? Like, I just thought that was really funny for some reason. But
yeah. It doesn't make any sense. But hey, when you can block, it builds up for your next one, right?
It should just be taking damage. Like, every time you take damage. You get like 5.
That's all I thought it was. but apparently it's every block.
I mean, is it really going to be overpowered if a paladin's overcapping on his bar? You know, I mean,
and now they're taking they're taking the fucking the swap the tank swap game, so it doesn't even matter.
I mean, they're only doing that for warriors. I thought. I didn't think they were doing that for the other tanks.
No, they're doing it for paladins too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they mentioned for paladins too. Yeah, they said ooh. I know they said, hold on, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, all right.
I think I have it right here.
Yeah.
I probably just
oh
read
my
it
god,
wrong.
I was yeah. Making the cast time for Paladin's Holy Spirit so short made it too powerful. So we will be making adjustments around that point. We will also be removing the reduction in the oath gauge when switching oats.
Okay.
So yeah, they're gonna
switching oats.
Switching oats.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I guess the other thing before, do you guys have anything kind of on your mind about Warrior that you want to get off your chest? Like now, do we feel like we hit it pretty well?
Man, I've like the past 2 weeks and 3 weeks or however fuck long, dude, I've been saying so much shit. It's all just a blur now. I don't remember what I've said to who.
Well, okay, so there was one question directed towards Warriors here. Seller Opa was wondering what are your thoughts Defiance as a defensive skill?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What are your thoughts as using Defiance as a defensive skill? Or the actual statement is, what are your thoughts? And he said it towards Perez here.
Yeah.
What are
that's my static healer, and there was this fucking meme where it was he gave me shit because I died because I wasn't in Defiance, and I was like, well, I'll have you know that Defiance isn't like, okay, I pop this stance and I'm automatically taking less damage, right? You have to heal me, Stellar. You have to actually heal me for it to work. So but if I'm gonna answer this question seriously, Defiance I think is fucking awesome. I think Defiance is a really good tank cooldown or stance rather.
Yeah.
They buffed it. They buffed it. It's even better now.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's the only stance that grants you access to like abilities like Inner Beast, Steel Cyclone, which are really fucking strong abilities.
Upheaval's crazy too.
Upheaval, I hit harder on my upheaval.
I know you hit massive upheavals.
I get my
awesome.
To buff my HP too. Oh man. Oh man.
Like Defiance damage is actually no joke. Like so all jokes aside for like tank stance and you fucking pussy, all jokes aside, Defiance damage is legit. Like they not only buff the penalty, so now it's only 20% as opposed to 25, but they also you have access to upheaval, which is crazy powerful. Upheaval is crazy powerful, and the beast buff, it's 350 potency now instead of 300, and it still ignores the penalty. And one weird thing, sorry, I noticed these weird things. I don't know why they change these things, but the wording on Inner Beast, why did they change it? Like now it says like it heals a portion of the HP, but it still heals 100%.
Wait, it does not say portion, does it?
It says portion. I swear to God, it says portion. Hold on, I'm gonna look just to double check. I'm fucking looking right now.
I think it scales down the higher level you get to. I think I read that somewhere.
Every time I've used it, I've healed 100%. I mean, granted, I've only used it like 5 times.
There are times when you overkill something, and it'll just heal you for the remaining HP of the mob. I don't know. It's very strange, but it was the same for Bloodbath as well. But like, why would you call it portion? It's 100% of. Oh fuck.
I guess it's only 90% now at level 70 instead of 100.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
Okay. Huh. I wonder why they did that. When I was leveling,
I have no clue what the calculation is when you level up too. That makes it just heal less. I mean, I don't know how it works, to be honest with you. That's pretty goofy.
That's a pretty big portion, though.
Yeah.
That's a big portion. Like if you got a pie, you know, if you got an apple pie,
I'll have a
and you're hanging with your dudes, and you're like, yo, I want a portion, and you take 90% of the pie, and your two buddies are like, you know, I wanted a little piece of the pie. That's a big portion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
it
interesting
is.
wording.
Piece of pie. Yeah, let me take it. Do you want a slice? And okay. So I do want to talk a little bit here about meta too, if you guys feel pretty comfortable before we are with Warrior at the moment. And we can go back to it if something comes up. Like, we're not like cutting off the Warrior discussion completely.
Well, I don't know. Just to conclude,
Yeah.
if we are concluding,
For Warrior, yeah.
I think Warrior probably got the biggest beating out of all the jobs in this expansion, maybe with the exception of Machinist and Dragoon. But Warrior got fucked. Like, out of the tanks, like, it is the only tank that was literally just restricted. I feel like all they had in mind when fucking making level 70 Dark Warrior was to restrict it. They're like, this job was way too strong in Heaven's Ward. Let's make sure that whenever they change from their stances that they're losing rage. Let's make sure that you know, whenever you want to use inner release or upheaval, all these amazing abilities, that you're losing rage. You know, I just think that they were trying too hard to nerf Warrior instead of just making it fit with the other tanks. And I think that's actually the main reason why Warrior fell so behind in terms of meta. So yeah, I don't know.
They're coming back, don't worry.
Well, right now we need to pour one out for the Warriors, man. Feels bad. 3 days we can have a good time.
The fucking Warrior mains.
Yeah, they're gonna come crawling back to you, Xeno. They'll be in your channel again, dude.
Yeah, because apparently that's my job.
Yeah, it's your job.
It's my job according to some YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so stupid, man.
That's YouTube, dude. Like, it's rough. You know, just a quick tangent on that too. Sometimes I have a show and I put it on YouTube and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. I felt pretty confident about it, and someone will just come up and then they'll just they'll say something like, I really don't understand why you guys said you hated the game so much and why you think that this is the worst game in the world. And I'm like, you know, about 10-15 times during this show, we said we think that this expansion went pretty well for the most part, you know, and we're saying that. It's like, so I'm just curious if most people post stuff on there after, like, they just look at it, then they like jump to like a 40-minute mark, and they're just like,
oh yeah, happens all the time.
Okay, I got something to say. He just said this. 40-minute mark. I know what he said right here, and he just like types it out, and he's like, I could battle this right now. And just, that's what happens.
Hey man, you know what? Okay, so on my ACT video, on the very, very, very fucking beginning. Matter of fact, it's before the beginning. It's at like negative time. It's there before you're there. At the very beginning, it says, allow through your fucking firewall. You have no idea how many people that are like, Xeno, my parser doesn't work. It just doesn't. Allow it through your firewall. Oh, it worked. Oh, wow, it worked. Read the fucking annotation, man. Like, holy shit. Like, people do that shit all the time. They'll watch like literally 5 seconds of a video. Oh, he didn't mention this. Like, watch the whole fucking, maybe he's not done. Maybe he's not done explaining. You know, maybe he's just watch the video, or don't watch it if you don't like it. That would be even better. Just don't watch the fucking video. Yeah, man. People do that shit all the time. Just skip the 35 or 40. Oh, he didn't mention this. And you mentioned it like, 3 times at 20-minute mark, 2 more times at 25-minute. Just like, damn.
Yeah. It's just YouTube comments, man. And this is nothing against people who watch the YouTube channels. It's just that some people who comment very negatively are there just to do that. They're not. I get some positive comments. I get some stuff, and I appreciate it. People are like, "Oh man, this is the best show. I love it. It's wonderful, great, everything." I love that stuff. but it just gets kind of weird after a while when some of that stuff just doesn't even make any sense. And I'm like, I want to process this. I want to be a good, I don't know, content creator, and I want to be someone who can talk back to people who are giving me good feedback. But when this feedback is literally just a fart that made no sense, then what am I supposed to do with it? I'm not going to smell it. I'm just going to walk away, dude.
I just go, like, people take like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes out of their lives to type out this really, really long, intricate comment about how they hate me and about how I'm dumb or something. And I read, like, I do what they do when they watch the video. I read the first 3 words and I go to their profile and I block them, then I hide them from my channel. So, and then I don't even read their comments. So if you're one of those dumbass fucking morons that comments dumb shit on my profile or on my fucking YouTube videos, there's a 99% chance that I read the first 3 words and then just block you. So make sure the next time you do it that the first 3 words are really, really mean, because after that, I just don't fucking care. I just don't read it. I block it. I just don't even waste my time, because I get a lot of comments and I just don't have the time. So if they're going to be mean, remember, first 3 words, gotta be fucking savage, or else they're not, it's going to fall on deaf ears. It's going to fall on deaf ears.
Okay, enough of that tangent there, right in our rants. Let's get back to tanking here, man. Let's talk a little bit here. I do want to talk about like a little meta discussion here between tanks. And I mean, with Stormblood, what do you guys feel like? I keep thinking about it. Damn YouTube. What do you guys feel like when people are co-tanking together? There's going to be a few things that are different. Stuff that they have to communicate, things that need to be organized well. What's stuff that people are going to have to make sure that they understand? For example, reprisal. You need to coordinate that with your other tank, right?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah,
so
definitely.
What are some things?
Depending
like
on the
that?
fight, you might not even have to, like, both of you might not have to take it either. Like depending on the fight, you may only need one tank to take it.
Yeah, and then like also staggering your reprisals, having like 2 reprisals every 60 seconds on different mechanics, like that is really strong. And if you can coordinate that properly with your co-tank with callouts, you know, make sure you are calling that out. Make sure you're saying reprisal every time you use it, and make sure you use it early enough so you're not overriding reprisals, because that shit happens all the fucking time.
But it's only 5 seconds, dude.
I know that's the thing.
5 seconds, 10%. It's not bad, dude. It's free ability.
Okay.
I feel like every time I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna mitigate some shit. I'm gonna use a reprisal here. My co-tank uses a fucking reprisal as well, and it's like, well, shit, you know. And it happens way too much. So I think like one of the best things you can do for prog is making sure that you are making full use of reprisal, because it is a really fucking good ability.
It's amazing. I'm so glad. Thank you, Dark Knights.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
They gave that up for the great.
Hey man, I gave up. What was it? My bulwark? No, I didn't give that up. I'm not taking that away. My rampart. I gave up my rampart, dude. But yeah, reprisal. That's ridiculous.
Having reprisal and divine veil on the same class is pretty dope. It's pretty fucking dope.
Just so much damage is reduced. Holy crap, man. So and then we have Shirk, right? Shirk. Every tank has to have Shirk.
Oh man, yo, I'm gonna make a Shirk video, because for some reason, we have idiots that don't think Shirk is fucking mandatory. And you know what? Yo, I'm gonna school them nerds in the chat right now. Yo, 3 different types of Shirks. You got your basic Shirk, the circle jerk Shirk, and the toxic Shirk. The basic Shirk, you voke the other tank Shirks. You got your circle jerk Shirk, the off tank vokes, main tank Shirks. Main tank vokes, off tank Shirks, the toxic jerk. Or wait, the toxic jerk? Oh my. Oh my. The toxic Shirk.
Oh no.
The fucking toxic Shirk. You run into those fucking idiots in Party Finder, or not Party Finder, but in dungeon runs. Oh, fucking love dungeon runs. You run into these morons in dungeon runs, and you're just like, okay, you want to be a piece of shit? Well, I'm going to be a toxic piece of shit. Take all my fucking aggro, and then they die, and you laugh. And then if they vote kick you, who cares? Because you're too busy laughing, and you have a great day. You have a great day. And I'm going to make a video, because for some reason, people think that Shirk is not mandatory. Shirk is one of the best abilities that they gave tanks, and people aren't using them. Like,
the uptime that you get on like offensive stance is is amazing because of that. Like I just don't understand. Like I see that, and at first I was like, no, I don't got Shirk, but that's when I hit level 70 and I went into my first dungeon. I was like, yeah, I don't have Shirk, but after that I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I need to actually use this skill, okay, so Shirk, right? Reprisal's amazing. Rampart's great. What about Convalescence? Do you guys feel like people should take Convalescence?
Combo's good.
Okay.
I feel like Conva, Rampart, and Provoke are the three
Provoke
must-haves.
you have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, but like, and then Reprisal and then Shirk, you just can't. If you're doing 8-man content, like,
You got
there's just no use for the other abilities.
yeah.
You know,
Well, what about AoE Provoke, man? What if I lose
Oh,
to
that really needs to be changed, man. That would be good if the skill Provoke was good. You know, in other games, correction. You know, in every other game, Provoke is amazing because in every other game you use Provoke, and not only does it generate a massive amount of threat, but it forces the enemy to attack you. It forces the enemy to attack you. They don't have a choice. They have to. Now imagine how good that would be in this game.
That'd make
if
it
you
too
just
easy,
hit Provoke.
Man.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what, man? They already dumbed down a lot of the jobs. Just dumb down threat too. I don't know why they're going to buff threat and then make Provoke. So like Provoke is really bad in this game, and it's really misleading too, especially for new players. Because especially for new players that come from other games like WoW or like Rift, you know, if you come from those games and you use Provoke, you're just like, wait, the fuck? I just provoked him. What the fuck? And then you look at the meter and it's like, wait, that didn't do anything. What did that do? Did I even click it? Did I lag? You know? Like, come on.
It would be nice to have a few seconds there where it's mandatory to hit you. I don't know, like the whole Provoke thing, I feel like it's like, okay, I have to plan my Provoke and make sure that I do it in a way that I'm going to get enmity afterwards. I kind of like that. Maybe I'm crazy.
I mean, I don't think you're crazy. Like, I think on some level, it does add a bit of a challenge. It does add a bit of like a layer of complexity. Yeah. But I guess my mentality is you just got to pick your battles, right? Like, like why it just seems like an unnecessary, like if they're gonna, they're just not very consistent. Like they dumb down Dark Knight, but they still have the Provoke. That doesn't make sense to me. Like maybe I just have a weird way of thinking about it, and this is probably just a biased opinion, but I just think that that Provoke, it just should be better. It just should be better. Maybe I'm fucking weird, but
you are weird.
I think it's I know.
Weirdo.
I am, but I think one of the comments, and this was probably one of the greatest comments that I've ever gotten in my entire life. But it was on one of Happy's videos, and it said Xeno is the weirdest creep of a shit motherfucker, or something like that. Like it had weird shit, creep, and motherfucker all in the same sentence, and it filled me with joy. It filled me with joy, and I was like, "Wow, now that is a 10. That's a 10. That is a 10. That's a 10 comment."
Confirming that.
Oh my god.
Oh,
but
geez.
Yeah, so I think the AoE Provoke should be changed. Hopefully they changed it. I don't know, man. Like I think it's pretty useless right now, but I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't use it, but
okay. Real quick, Hammerfry has something in here. Want to honest opinion here? We know parry sucks, but anticipation 30% parry, but only a 60-second cooldown. I feel like that's hard. I don't know.
I mean, it's just like Dark Dance. It's pretty good for. I think it's really good for dungeons. I think it's awesome for dungeons. Because Shirk isn't good for dungeons. Like, granted, all that Shirk shit that I said is. Most of my mentality comes from 8-man content because I don't really consider dungeons or 24-man raids. I don't really consider them very serious. You can take any comp you want in there and clear them, and I don't think that any of the rules really apply. So most of my opinions are just strictly based on shit that matters, like 8-man content, like the harder shit. So that was the meaning behind when I said Shirk was mandatory. But I actually do like anticipation for dungeons. It's up like all the time, and because you're being hit so many times from so many ads, it procs quite a bit. So I mean, I think it's pretty good. in
It is really
dungeons,
good.
but
Yeah, it is. For sure.
like I typically so on Paladin and Warrior, I actually like awareness better than convalescence. Because they synergize better with raw intuition and bulwark. Since they changed it to where you can parry from behind, if you have raw intuition and you also awareness is the traded awareness. It's 25 seconds and not 15. Yeah. So that's really good.
So you can pop awareness and then raw intuition.
Yeah. So yeah, and another thing is you can actually turn your back to the mob and you'll still parry, because so the wording on raw intuition is kind of misleading, because it says it parries all attacks from the front. That's true, but it's also not true. And the reason why it's not true is because it parries all attacks from every angle, except that crits override parries and blocks. But if you're not, if you're attacked from the side or the back, you get crit. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't still parry, because if you have awareness and you turn your back with raw intuition up, you will still parry those attacks. So the wording on the tooltip is a little misleading, because it says just from the front, but technically it's from 360, except for you get crit if it's not from the front unless you have awareness up. So like I typically will use awareness over convalescence on Warrior, and the same for Paladin, because with Bulwark, if you pop awareness, it pretty much, you're not going to have a crit override a block.
So you would take Conva over Dark Dance, or you would take Dark Dance over Conva? Because I feel like
well, I actually don't take Convo on Paladin or Warrior. I take the role skills I take on Paladin and Warrior are Provoke, Shadows, or Rampart, Provoke, Rampart, the fucking Dark Knight, not Delirium, Reprisal, sorry, Reprisal, Awareness, and Shirk. So those are the 5 that I take, but I can see the argument for Convo. Like if someone takes Convo over Awareness, I think that's just as good.
I mean, I'm always taking Convo over Awareness.
Yeah. Like I think that's just as good. In some situations it's better. In some situations it's better even. I just really like the synergy that it provides with raw intuition, but I don't think that's really applicable with every fight. So
with Warrior, like if I'm doing a dungeon, I think raw intuition plus awareness is like really fucking good, and it's what makes Warriors so fucking strong in dungeons. And I think Warriors are actually like still the kings when it comes to dungeon pulls. Like there's this one pull in what's it called? I just did it recently. Not Kugane Castle, not
Doma Castle?
No, it's the level 71, one of the expert dungeons. I don't even remember the name.
Oh.
Temple of the Fist or something, right? I think it's
Temple of the Fist?
One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know when you kill that first moss barrier, and then you have the option to pull to the second moss barrier, and it's like all those mobs plus the moss barrier, like it is a ridiculous amount of damage you have to heal through, right? And a lot of, like before, people were like, oh shit, like that's not even possible to heal, like you cannot heal that. And I'm like thinking, Warrior, raw intuition, inner beast, vengeance, I think I can do this. And I did it with fucking strength accessories. Warrior is so fucking strong when it comes to those dungeon pulls. It's ridiculous. But in every other aspect, Warrior is fucking shit.
But for that, they can highlight and be the shine of the moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. So, I mean, pretty much just reprisals and shirks. Is there anything else that tanks are probably going to have to be focusing on for communication to make sure they do well when they get into Savage here?
Well, obviously provokes. Provokes. It's very important to know when they're using provoke, especially now that shirk is a thing, because the second you hear I provoked, the other tank should be shirking. You know, that is, you need to do that. Especially, well, I mean it's gonna go away, but like with the tank swapping and how you would half your gauge, Like it was very important before. Now it's, you know, you can get away with swapping because of the changes in 4.05. But if you're gonna provoke, you need to shirk, and that's very important to communicate with your co-tank. If any of you tanks do not have shirk cross-classed and you're doing Susanoo or Lakshmi, you like, come on. That's just a dick move, man.
Yeah. Well, Paladins also, for at least Paladins, they need to coordinate with the other tank with their cooldowns too, because Paladins can give cooldowns. And so that needs to be kept in mind when you're doing the content, is how are you going to handle that too? Because you're not just dealing with that one tank's cooldowns in that situation. The Paladin can throw something their way. If you feel like, oh, this might hit a little too hard, you can top them off. But then again, it depends on how the fights go and how the tank busters will run and when you will need to be using those cooldowns. But that is an interesting interaction they'll have. And Dark Knights kind of have that too, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just really fucking unreliable. Like if for whatever reason there's a all of a sudden tank buster that's coming up, you have 2400 MP to spare, and your Blackest Night isn't off cooldown, somehow, some way, that's good.
That is kind of a dangerous thing though, because like it is a DPS thing that you're trying to do, but then it also could be, if you use it too much for DPS, you won't have it when you need it for defense, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like, it's like what I was saying earlier. Is like when I play Dark Knight now, I find myself trying to find the pockets where Blackest Night can go into, and still be up for the busters. But it's really frustrating when you're trying to find those pockets and you hit Blackest Night at a weird time, and it's in between server ticks, and you don't actually bust the shield, or like you use it and then the boss will cast an ability and not auto attack. Granted, those times take trial and error, and after you know when that happens, but still that doesn't help that it's still kind of punishing. And I just think that it should be longer than 5 seconds, but I don't know. Maybe that's because I'm bad at the skill. Maybe
you're just not
bad at the skill. Yeah, that's. I think that's what it is. I just need to manage my Blackest Nights better. Yeah. Because holy fuck, man! Like
QQ, buddy, QQ.
It's fucking QQ, man. Like imagine doing prog and trying to like use Blackest Night as efficiently as possible. That's gonna be very difficult to do. Whereas intervention is just kind of like,
it's just whatever.
Just throw it out there.
You know, but like Blackest Night is I think it's a very unreliable ability.
Like it's great on tank busters when it's like very obvious. It's but
when you're progging through something and there's a million other things going through your head, Blackest Night is it's not easy. It really isn't.
Yeah.
I do like the so you guys remember back in when 3.x first came out, there was a bug with raw intuition. And it was, you remember the bug, right?
Okay.
So for those of you in chat that don't remember this bug, this was fucking crazy. So raw intuition on Warrior says you parry everything from the front. I was talking about earlier, but from the sides and from the back, you take critical damage. Well, if you were to get healed, you would get critically healed. So the scholar could slide his way over to your side, hit you up with an adlo, that crit adlo, and you just GG tank busters for days. 4 days. Just, I'm out of cooldowns, that's okay. Yo, let me get on the side of you. Crit adlo, So it was crazy, right? Now, that synergy between the two jobs was awesome. Now, it was busted. Now, I'm not trying to say it wasn't busted. I'm not trying to say it wasn't busted. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that the synergy was awesome. It was badass, and it's really cool that they somewhat brought that back a little bit by accident. They weren't meaning to do that, but they brought it back in the sense that intervention covers someone, Blackest Night covers someone, covers someone, you know what I mean? Like, granted, cover still did the same thing at 2.x, but it didn't block magic. So now it's just a straight you're just taking the damage. So the fact that those synergies are there, I think is really, really cool. That's like one of the really cool like tanking aspects that they've added in Stormblood, I feel. But man, those crit allos are crazy though. That's crazy.
I miss it.
Okay, going back to like raiding though, and kind of that part of it. The only things I do want to mention during Savage while tanking, or during normal while tanking that stuff, there's a couple things that stood out to me. One, there's only one tank buster, or two tank busters. Okay, there's two situations where you would need another tank involved. One is the lightning in the very beginning, the first fight, right? Where you have to have a lightning tether between the two tanks, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one was the lightning resistance buff on X-Death, right?
Yep.
And
Well, I guess if you want to get technical, the ad in A or 03 or whatever
is
we'll
the
just
only
say,
ad in
yeah,
the
that
entire
is
thing.
Yep, that is Yo, I kind of like it.
Yeah?
I kind of like it. Yeah. I dig. I kind of like it.
That's interesting.
But the reason why I brought the ad up was just because what if because it would be really easy in Savage if the damage was just simply too overwhelming. You know what I mean? Between the ad, because actually in normal mode, that frost breath or whatever the fuck he does actually hits you pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like, whoo, yo,
it wrecks,
it's getting hot here.
Yeah, it wrecks you, dude. And that's weird because I don't know if they want to take away like that kind of situation to where you have to heal two tanks at the same time, and they only want it to have it to where you heal the one tank. I mean, you still have to heal them for like incidental damage, like the AoE stuff and everything else, but you won't have to heal. You won't have two people tanking two things, and I don't know. I guess it feels okay. I don't know if I mind it. I guess if they just make the fights enjoyable, I don't care either way. It's just a weird change.
It's very interesting though, to say the least. It's very interesting.
Yeah. But those are the only things I noticed that might be stand out for tanks. I mean, they could always just throw in tank busters or throw in mandatory tank swaps and throw in these different things.
Yeah, like debuffs for the like for O2 when the eyeball does the only damaging ability that he does and is a tank buster.
I think Twin Bolt's going to be interesting with all the mechanics, like the comboing of mechanics. Like for example, let's say a downburst goes out. And while the downburst is out, there's a 11 bolt that you need to spread for, and then she does ice. But as she's casting the ice, I say she. There I go, assuming gender, like
assuming gender, like
the eyeball. No, the dragon guy, right?
Yeah. And then does the ice. The tank is like halfway across the arena, but then they do twin bolt. You know.
There are some really interesting things they can do with that.
Yeah. So like I really hope that there is some tanking mechanics aside from the ones that are in fucking normal mode.
I hope they make most of the challenge of that fight ice skating, and that you have to just be really good at it.
Oh, and man, I hate the ice mechanic.
I hate the ice mechanic.
You do not love it. You do not.
O1 is going to be so AIDS because you're going to be sliding around, losing GCDs. The boss disappears, reappears at a random spot. Yeah. I'm so glad that's the first turn. Just fucking get it done and over with.
It's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be so bad.
I just like the different like perspectives because I'm thinking from a pure like min-max DPS standpoint, like, oh, this is fucking AIDS. We're gonna be sliding around, losing GCDs, the boss teleporting. It's just
I'm thinking funny. From this is like I'm gonna watch people get pissed off and upset. It's gonna make me happy. I don't know. I love it, and you're gonna have to do this with mechanics and everything else. I mean, they're gonna nerf it if they do it like that. They're gonna be like, oh well, people are having a hard time because the casual players can't slide in the right direction properly. It's like, all right, well, I guess so. All these casual ice sliders can't handle the mechanic. I guess we gotta take it out.
My only hope is that somehow they work it in to where the ice phase happens like later, or I'm sorry, the ice mechanic happens a little later in the phase, and I'm just hoping that you can push damage so far and so fast that you just fucking
Oh, you
skip
should
it.
go
You
and cheat
just
it. You're
fucking
gonna cheat
skip
it.
it. You just cheat it.
Oh
Just
my
get the fuck out of
God.
here. Just take
Screw
the
that.
ice. Just get the fuck out of here.
No, first thing, first mechanic.
Oh
Take the
my
rails
God.
off.
Oh
Ice
my
skating.
God. So
No
you
rails.
just pull the boss and like you slide up
Dude, you
and just
zone
do your
in.
opener?
You zone in and just ice.
No, exactly.
That's how you pull the boss. You just face pull. The whole group just face pulls the boss. Okay.
I'd be happy with it. And then like people are gonna mess up and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Then they hit like a left instead of right or something, and then they just slide off the arena and just perfect. Okay, but I mean that's gonna be really cool, and I hope they do something with O2 that makes it a little bit more interesting.
I love everyone hates O2. I love it. I think
You know-
it's so cool with the different like levels. And you
It
gotta
will
hit
be.
the
It's a
thing
puzzle
and then-
though. And do you think no one's gonna be able to do the puzzle? They're gonna be like, I think they're gonna mess up, and you're not gonna be able to party finder it. I don't know. We'll see how random it is. If it's not random and they just it's straight the same mechanic every single time, then it'll be easy. But O2 it's weird because people have been complaining about it a lot because they feel like it's just once you get it, it's just like for real. It's just easy. You don't think about it anymore.
Well, I mean, it's just a gimmicky fight.
Yeah,
That's all it is. Just a gimmicky
it's
fight.
the second
I mean,
fight. Second fight's usually gimmicky.
It's like Gavel, or Inception 2. Like it's super, complex, like on the surface, but when you do it once, you're like, wow, that's really fucking easy, and then you never fuck it up again. I think it's like one of those things, kind of. I don't know.
Okay, so go ahead.
What they need to do, right? They need to add a second button, right? There's anti-gravity, but there needs to be a gravity button, right? Where he's not gonna fuck with your gravity. He's not gonna use 100.
Oh, that's
Gs.
really, yeah.
He's not gonna throw 100 G's on you. You gotta throw 100 G's on yourself. That would be cool. That would be fucking cool. But
With 2 buttons, I can't even hit 1. Buttons. Oh my God, I can't even hit 1 button.
GL.
I changed the vril, my hotkey, for F because I fucked it up so much.
But you guys don't see anything else tank related in these fights that we might need to think about. We can just guess. Oh, they're gonna throw another debuff in there. I mean, there's nothing I can really think of.
Yeah, there's as far as tank stuff goes. I mean, it's pretty much just basic prog stuff. Like you should. I mean, you're gonna be in your tank stance while you learn. Your damage is gonna be shit. There's gonna be a lot of deaths.
That's
People
a
are
good
gonna
point.
get shitty at each other.
Can I just force that out real quick? You're gonna be in tank stance to learn.
You're going to be in tank stance to learn. Yes, yes, you are. You will be in tank stance to learn. If you go in there in DPS stance, you're gonna die before you get the chance to learn anything.
Yeah.
You're gonna do like 20 pulls and you're not gonna live past 45 seconds.
Also, let's in a imaginary world, let's pretend that going into Omega Savage, slaying accessories, 270 slaying accessories were still a thing. Xeno, would you go in with 270 slaying accessories?
Full vit, no questions. Full vit.
I got my vit going, and I put the right materia in there, Xeno.
Yeah.
I got strength.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, dude. I saw your materia, dude. I'm gonna roast you for a second.
Do it.
Frosty was like, yo, look at my materia. And I look at it on his right side and he's got like direct hit instead of main stat. I'm just like, I literally said out loud, is this guy fucking retarded? What is he doing? And then I'm in Mumble and I'm like, yo, guys, I just looked at Frosty's success rates and he didn't melt main stat.
Oh, man.
And then on top of that, I was using tenacity too, so I guess like that's.
I'm going in with tenacity.
You gonna do tenacity?
Originally, I thought tenacity was really bad, but I guess like later tests showed that it was actually pretty decent. I still don't know if I'm gonna go tenacity or direct hit.
I mean, for survivability, that's what prog is, right? You're just trying to survive until you see the next mechanic so you can progress. I don't know. You can't argue with me otherwise, unless direct hit was like a fucking 10% DPS increase with all the materia slots that are available. But,
yeah, I think I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. If I go, so here's my reason, or so here's my logic for like direct hit anyway. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's good logic, but here's a little bit of logic that I have. Okay. Is that tenacity? I think that as far as like melding in the gear and stuff is concerned, I would rather meld direct hit and stay in my tank stance longer because I don't have tenacity than melding tenacity than having to replace it slowly over time with direct hit and like removing my tank stance like maybe a little sooner. I don't know. Maybe I don't see. That's the thing though. It's like,
I mean, it's cost efficient.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like with like tenacity is definitely going to be the prog stat. I think like it's definitely going to be the prog stat. It's just I don't know. I guess I don't know if we're going to need it. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's the thing. Like we do not know if we are going to need it, but it's one of those things where it's like you want to prepare yourself for the worst. And I think we do have some basis as to why tenacity would be necessary in this tier, and that's just because of the last two fights and they're fucking those auto attacks.
They hit pretty hard, man. Yeah,
they're
hit pretty
fucking
hard.
nutty. Like that, like they hit fucking hard. And so like tenacity, I think over the course of a fight, do I think it's gonna save your ass a couple times? I think so. I think during the entire course of your prog, that you could see yourself sitting on like 100 and something HP. Like it happens.
Hey, and man, that's tankering.
And you know, like the amount of yeah, like the amount of times you say, wow, I'm glad I wasn't a fucking Lalafell or I would have died there, you know? Like back when attributes and stats were based on,
right.
You know, but tenacity is gonna be that stat. It's like fuck, I should have had some tenacity, dude. It's a consistent stat, and it's what Perry should have been. And I think tenacity is a really good stat. Do I think the scaling is a bit shitty? Yeah, I think it has pretty shitty scaling, but you know, mitigation.
I mean, it does a lot though too. So that's the really good and really bad thing about stats like that though, is that it's really awesome that they do a lot, but they can't make it scale super good, because if they did, then it would be overpowered as shit. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I think tenacity is the way to go for prog, in my personal opinion. But I think after our first clear, I think I'm gonna say, yo, what's up? I don't even know what the goblin's name is. Meld me some direct hit.
I don't know what his name is either.
Goblin Melder.
I didn't know he had a name. Does he actually have a name?
I don't think so. I think it's called Materia Melder.
Oh man, he should have a name.
I think so. I think it's just Materia Melder. I don't know.
I think it is too.
Yeah. Oh, it does. Mutramix bubbly pots. What?
Yeah. Okay.
How
the fuck do you know that, dude?
Okay. So stats wise, you guys are thinking maybe tenacity wouldn't be so scary to take, but definitely strength and on your right side, because you will be able to put it with the new tank stats.
Oh yeah, strength's definitely right side. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna use direct hit or tenacity. I'm kind of more on the side where I would want direct hit and just stay in my tank stance longer. But I don't know if that's correct or not. But
sorry, say that again real quick. Sorry, I fucking brain farted.
Oh no, I said that I think what I'm going to do is go direct hit and just stay in my tank stance longer. But I don't know if that's the correct way to go. I'm probably just gonna have to see the damage, and then I guess if it's like crazy super high, then I'll probably throw some tenacity melds on there. But
right, yeah, I mean, yeah, it is honestly a negligible difference, so it's not something that you should fucking worry over.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense, and I mean, like, God, we're like a couple of days away. I do want to talk about a couple things with that raid tier that Yoshida also said. Everybody's going to get a weapon when they beat the 4th tier. They're just like, here's a weapon. You have it.
Is that a thing?
I think that's what it said in the notes, right?
Well, it was the thing in Gordius. They gave you the dip or whatever the thing was.
Is that what he's referring to?
It's pretty much it, yeah.
Like, I thought he was just, I don't know. He said that you could
Yeah,
get a
because in
weapon,
Gordius
and
they
could
gave
also
you
get a
the
drop.
yeah, because in Gordius they gave you the dip. So, or I don't even know what it's called. Was it called a dip, or I don't know what the fuck it was called. They gave you
Chad is telling me no for
a
sure, by the
thing.
way.
But it's just one person will. So it's going to be like, so like in Gordius, there were two options for the max level weapon. There was the upgraded tomb weapon, which you use the dip on, which gave you a free 210 weapon, or you could get the drop.
Okay.
So I think what they're trying to, well, I mean, just based on what he said, I think they're going to go back to that system where, because there's so many jobs now, there's so many fucking jobs, they have to have like an item that drops that guarantees you get one, because with the amount of jobs that are in the game now, you could go in there for like 2 fucking months and not get a single weapon that your raid group has. You know what I mean? I mean, it's possible. We got fucking, was it 6 or 7 machinist guns in a row? In a fucking row? Like, holy no, it was like 7. We all had a gun to shoot ourselves in the fucking face with. That's how many guns we got. And I'm not even kidding. That's how many guns we got. We all got a personal gun, and on the last kill, if we're like, yo, if we get another gun, we're all just gonna mass murder ourselves. And luckily we didn't get another gun. So here we are.
So
and everyone's fine. Happy ending, you know. Nobody died.
So between 4 and 8 weeks, everybody will have their weapon, right?
Yeah. It should be, yeah. Before 4
between
and
4
weeks
and between 4
yeah.
and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because you get really lucky and you get a weapon for each person on the 4 weeks, and then you get the extra weapon.
That'd be super lucky, but because the person who got their the choice weapon would also have to not have that weapon drop later on. Like, it would be.
Hey man,
but
sometimes lucky. Sometimes lucky.
But possible. So that's interesting because it will not go over 8. No matter what, if your group kills it 8 times, everyone has a weapon, and you don't have to buy a weapon.
Well, not only that, but you also get the books too, or I assume you get the books. So there's another fucking weapon.
Yeah.
So it's like fucking free T-shirt day after you kill the last turn. You just get all this shit. Here you go.
Mm-hmm. Free T-shirt. I got fucking T-shirt cannon over there. What are you? Just like shoots it out. Well, that's pretty awesome. I'm actually pretty happy about that then. Like, I felt kind of weird that they were like, oh, just everybody can get a free weapon if you clear it. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That seems like too easy. But I'll take that.
Yeah, I really like that system they had in Gordius. I mean, the elitist in me is kind of like, fuck that, dude. Your best in slot weapon is the weapon that drops in the fight, period. Mm-hmm. But I did also like the fucking the fact that you had the option to choose your weapon instead of just being forced using one. So hopefully they do it.
All right, I do have. I guess we can go into some questions here real quick. There's a couple of questions that came in over the show that we didn't hit. One is from Camus108, and it's just a theory question, I guess. If Square Enix decides to make tank stances a trait, making it to where their damage mitigation is reduced from 20 to 10%, where a full tenacity tank would be able to get that extra 10% back, maybe even more, remove the damage penalty and the enmity buff, giving the enmity actions a huge boost. Do you guys think that could be a solution to all the problems they have about tank balance and the whole gap between casual and hardcore players? Did you guys understand all that?
I don't like the concept of a tank stance being a trait, because it would take away the dynamic of being of going from tank stance to DPS stance. It would take away the evolution of removing your tank stance as you learn the fights and as you learn the different encounters. So me personally, I don't like it. But that's just because I love the tanking, like I love the tanking meta in Final Fantasy. I think it's so fucking awesome that you go from being like 100% tank stance, like all defense shit, to the more you learn the fight, the more you become the greediest piece of shit on the planet. You know, I really like that evolution.
Yeah.
I think that the dynamic The dynamic of it is really, really awesome. So me personally, I wouldn't like it, but I just think that there's always going to be a gap between like a mid-core player and like a top tier, like a hardcore player. There's always going to be a gap. It's like it doesn't matter. It's I would say it's almost like unfixable. But I don't even see it being a problem. I think that if you work really hard at learning your job, you should be better than the person that doesn't care. Yeah. That's what I think. But I mean, you know, I don't know. I enjoy that kind of stuff, but other people, they play this game and they come from other games, and this game's tanking is very different. It's very, very different. It's very unique in the fact that tanks can deal so much damage. And I think when people come to this game and play it, it kind of confuses them at first, because it did me at first too. But like I adapted and I enjoyed it. And I think that if more people actually gave a shit and tried it out, they would like it. So I don't know. Me, I wouldn't really like it as a trait, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and part of the question was like, do you think it would like mend the gap between the tanks and the meta? And I'm pretty sure he said something about the tanks would be more on equal footing, something along those lines.
Right.
I don't think so. I think they'll be in literally the same position as they are right now. Just because like it's not really a matter of your tank stance and it restricting you, or you know, the tank stances giving different abilities, because like the abilities are going to stay the same, and the reason why tanking is so difficult is because of the abilities that you're given, right? The tank stance is just there because it's basically a free cooldown, right? So I don't really think it would change much, but I think it would be interesting to see Square Enix try it out, for sure.
Okay. Another question we have here from Alchemy Asura. Do you think they should remove invulnerability moves because there's too much cheesing that goes on with tank busters?
I think the tank cooldowns in this game are severely overpowered. I think that being able to, like, if you took the tank cooldowns in this game and put them in like Rift or another game, oh my God. Like being able to mitigate just 30% this time, 20% this time. Oh, I'm going to parry this and I have thrill this time. I think it's fucking nuts. But it has to be in the game because that's just because that's the way this game is designed. It's a tank buster. It's a tank buster meta. Like the bosses, they just do fluff damage to you. It's just a fucking pillow fight until the buster, and then the buster comes out and then they nuke you, you know? So you have to have those big cooldowns to survive that. So unless they change it to where like auto attacks are doing as much as busters pretty much, then I mean, I think that they have to keep it this way. I do think some of the mechanics, like for instance, Akmorn in T13, I think that should not have been, you should not be able to hollow that. You should have to share every single Akmorn. And I think you should have to mitigate it. So I think that sometimes the cheesing is a little much. Sometimes, like not a lot, but sometimes. But I mean, come on, man. When you're like, oh, let me home gang the first buster in 12. Oh wait, no. Let me home gang the first buster in a stasis. Oh wait, no. Let me home gang the first buster in a, come on, man. Like, really? That's just a little too good. That's just a little too good. Like, come on. You're literally making three punishing heats not even a thing. It's like it never even fucking happened. The boss literally did. He just stood there and just didn't auto you for like 3 seconds or whatever. That's all that happened, you know?
Yeah. Perez, what are your thoughts on it, dude?
I don't know. I kind of like it because you have to plan. Like if you do want to use one of your invulnerabilities, that grants you access to using your other abilities for fluff damage or whatever. Do I think it's like a bit much. I think so. I think tanking would be a lot more interesting if they weren't a thing, and it'd be a lot more difficult and a lot more fun, I think. Uh, because in a way, yeah, that's kind of what those are there for. You're kind of just going full lazy mode. It's like, okay, I'll just pop hollowed and be invincible for 10 seconds real quick, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the game would be better without them, but I do like the min-maxing that comes along with it, and finding full use of those. Like Living Dead, if you can optimize Living Dead, and I mean all of Living Dead, meaning like the 10 seconds you have to die, and then the 10 seconds that you are dead, coupled with a white mage and benediction, like that's really fun to me. Like I think like
that's really good.
Very interesting, and it could honestly make Living Dead better than Hollowed in some situations, because the cooldown is shorter and you technically get more use out of it if your timing is perfect. When I mean use out of it, I mean like healers DPSing rather than healing you. Like that's where I'm coming with it. But yeah, so in a way, I mean, yeah, they're all right, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Vulnerability cheese, and that's just part of the game. Yeah, it's all right. It's good. Okay, I got a couple more questions here. We'll ask before we go into the final portions of the show. Blazing Arrow wants to know how you guys feel about Yoshi's stance on job difficulty in relation to its effectiveness. For example, we're okay with easier, simpler jobs being as effective or stronger than more difficult, more punishing jobs. I believe you guys have a pretty obvious opinion on that.
I think it's fucking stupid that warriors do the least. Well, they don't do the least damage now. But like compared to a paladin, I guess the amount of thinking that goes into a prolonged warrior rotation is fucking nuts. Compared to 3.0, it's crazy. Like
it's insane. It's insane.
There is so much thinking you have to do, and when you compare it to a paladin that just does more damage, and all they have to worry about is keeping up their goring blade, filling the empty slots with royal authorities, and then whenever your Requiscat's up, burn that shit. Holy Spirit, that's it. I literally just told you the prolonged paladin rotation. It's a joke, right? Whereas warrior, I'd be here for like 5 minutes, because there's so many intricacies and things you have to worry about with the new infuriate trait, with onslaught, with upheaval. There's so many things you can do. Whereas paladin, it's basic.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, it's the way I like seeing it is I honestly think they just took all the difficulty on Dark Knight and just put it on Warrior, and then all.
Do you guys hear that noise? That just happened? No, okay, good. Sorry.
I heard something.
Okay, it was the washing machine exploding, basically.
Oh shit!
No, it didn't explode. It's just how it gets unbalanced and it starts going back. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But good. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, like I just think warriors, if they're gonna do as much damage as they do, then they need to be a lot more fucking straightforward and basic, like they were in 3.0. And a paladin is gonna do as much damage as they can do, then make sure that royal authority, every time you use royal authority, you lose your oath gauge or something, or Holy Spirit or something. Make it difficult. Like you can't, like that shit doesn't fly. Fuck that. I'm just a salty tank, I guess, because I'm really upset that I'm like fucking tunnel visioning on warrior, and my co-tank is just like chilling. And he's doing more damage than me. I don't like it.
Fair enough.
I don't think I think an issue with that is that they're not as good at the game as the player base is. And like I've said this multiple times on like my stream and like other podcasts, like I think the dev team, they get a little cocky from time to time. I think they get a little cocky because they don't like to admit when they fucked up at first, and it's fine, it's whatever, but like this is the second time that the player base has found a better fucking rotation for Ninja than they had. That's why they fucking nerfed him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like so I don't think that they have the best gauge on the difficulty and rewards of each job, because just like Perez was saying, like on Warrior, like you work so fucking hard to do damage on Warrior. Now, granted, in my experience, my parses, I will typically parse on this is on a perfect run. Perfect run on Warrior, perfect run on Paladin. I will normally parse a little higher on Warrior. A little tiny bit on Warrior. But
and I can explain why in a sec.
Yes, but like the amount of work that you put in is not worth that increase. Yeah. The increase should be way, way higher because of the amount of work. Because Paladin you literally said the Paladin rotation in like fucking 10 seconds. You know, like the Paladin rotation is so brain dead easy that it's the and I mean that's not saying it's a bad thing, because I mean it's fun doing fucking, you know, requisite, you know, lightning comes on you, bam, you know, and Holy Spirit, you know, it's awesome. You know, but it's easy. It's easy, you know. Yeah. Oh, that's convenient. Requisite lines up with every single goddamn trick attack without even trying. You know, and it's like Warrior, you're like, oh fuck, okay, I got 50 rage here. I got path real quick, go up to 80. Oh fuck, I got 80, got onslaught, I'm gonna overcap, you know, okay, now I gotta do a block here, now I gotta do an eye, and I'm in a rally and I'm stunned. Oh fuck. And you here's what you do. When that happens, you take your computer, you throw it in your car, you get in your car, and you drive off a cliff, and you uninstall the shit before you hit the ground, just to really give it to the man, you know? That's what you do. So, like, with all that being said, man, I just don't think they have a firm grasp on the rewards for difficult classes. Some classes are going to be harder. The rewards aren't there. And I think they need to fix that a little bit. I think they just need to fix that a little bit is all.
Yeah. And hopefully they're doing that. We can hope.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, it's a good start with the oath gauge and the beast gauge not being halved every time you swap. So I think they're doing something about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that being said, we have another question here, which will be the last one that we'll do. This is from Moon.
Oh God.
For both Xeno and Perez, are you proud to be a Warrior main?
Oh, I'm fucking proud to be a Warrior main.
I'm a Dark Knight main.
You're a Dark Knight main.
I'm a Dark Knight main.
Sorry, guys.
I don't even know what I main anymore. Like, I play like all three tanks pretty much equally now. I don't even know. You know what I main in my heart? I main Warrior in my heart. In the heart of hearts.
Perez, in your heart. Warrior. What's in your heart, Perez?
In my heart, I'm a fucking Warrior, dude.
Fucking Warrior main.
Oh my God, yes. But right now, I'm just a Dark Knight main. I'm a Dark Knight main.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I'm a Paladin, guys. Yeah.
No
hey man, Paladin's awesome, dude. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah for Paladin.
I got a shield. Yeah. I'm gonna beat you in the head with that fucking. We'll fucking swipe you.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
Bash.
Paladin's dope, man.
Lightning. Okay.
Hey man, Requisite is a badass animation.
Requires scat.
Fucking on. Man, fucking Rekus scat.
I just made something up. You're right. I'm pretty sure.
I used to call it rest in peace, but then people were like, no, Xena. Well, because it's supposed to be like Requisite and Passe or whatever, some foreign language I don't even fucking know. Because I actually looked it up. I was like, okay, I don't know how to say this word, so I'm gonna look this up real quick. so like, and I was like, okay, let's do a little bit of research. Requisite and Passe, rest in peace. Okay, well, I don't want to say Requisite and Passe all the time. I don't even know if I'm fucking saying it right, so I'm just gonna say rest in peace. People are like, no, Xeno, that's not right. That's not right at all. Like, holy fuck, you grammar Nazi piece of shit. Fine. I'm just gonna misfucking pronounce it every time. I don't give a shit. I hope I trigger you, you know?
Oh, Jesus.
Holy shit.
Okay. I'm going to hit the closing statements here in just a bit. And I just, before we go into like all the shout outs and everything else, to kind of wrap up the tank show, Xeno, do you have anything left that you want to say to wrap up just being a tank?
fucking warrior main, man. Fucking warrior main.
Xeno's job.
I can't believe somebody said that. Oh, I can't believe there are people that are that dumb.
I'd be flattered. I would honestly be flattered.
I don't know, man.
Oh, did anyone think of a name for my other character?
Oh yeah, guys.
Right now we have Lady Vex, Overseas Dad, Murder Train, Thick Vex, and Daddy Vex.
That's mine.
Okay.
Oh my. I gotta rename my character because somebody took my name on Sargatana. So whoever took my name,
sorry.
Thanks for the free name change. Thanks for the free name. Yo, can I create this poll and link it?
Yeah, do it, dude.
Okay.
I still have you with admin? I don't know.
I'm just gonna link it, and if I get wrecked, I get okay. I didn't get wrecked.
You're good.
There we go.
There you go, guys. Feel free to vote on that. I hope that guy doesn't actually play the game under your name. He may, man. You go out there and he just like destroys parties. Everybody's like, man, Xeno sucks. Ugh, dude. Xeno's like the worst. He came into my party. He didn't even use like Unchained. Oh god.
Yes, Daddy Vex.
Is it winning? Is it coming in hot?
Yeah.
Oh my. Oh my god.
Perez, any final tank words here?
I mean, in all seriousness, like I'm actually kind of happy with the tank meta compared to how it was back in 3.0. Like the fact that Paladin even exists is fucking awesome. I really like how tanks cooperate with each other. You know, I think that I think tanking in 4.0 is pretty fucking awesome. Aside from like the offensive shit, I feel like offensively tanks aren't as fun as they were in 3.0, but
Paladin's 10 times more enjoyable than it was.
Oh man,
Paladin's way it's a lot. It's a lot
it
more
feels
fun.
so much better. Man, they get to upgrade every expansion. Before they were just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now they got a 5 and a 6. 4, 5, and 6 in the last one, and now they got some more moves, man. Oh my.
Yeah. Requiem Scout is like the best thing that's ever happened to Paladin, in my opinion, because man, it's just such a fun ability to use. There's just something about it.
It also solved the TP issue too, which is really good.
That like the first thing that came to my mind was like, don't worry, you don't need to go with me anymore.
Got taken care of. All right. Well, let's do some shout outs here. Xeno, who do you want to shout out, dude?
Man, I shout out this group of individuals every time because you know what? I fucking love this group of individuals. And you know who they are? You know who they are?
I think I know who they are.
Fucking Twitch chat. That's who they are. Fucking Twitch chat, yo. I love Twitch chat. They come on the stream, man. They come on the stream. You know, they call me shit. They help me out. You know, like I'm only as good as I am because of the people I play with and because of Twitch chat. And I love Twitch chat. I think Twitch chat is awesome. And Twitch chat can be really savage. Twitch chat can be really fucking mean. But you know what? Twitch chat can also be really fucking supportive too. They can be really fucking supportive, and the hype that you get from fucking Twitch and just Twitch chat is just crazy. And
make me cry, man.
fucking huge shout out to fucking Twitch chat, man. Like I would not be the same person without Twitch chat. And one day, and I say this every time, I'm gonna surgically get Twitch chat fucking implanted on my peripheral vision so I can just be doing random shit, you know, like I'll just be walking in a house and stub my toe, oh fuck, and then see wrecked on my peripheral. I just wrecked, lol, get good, like damn, get good on a stub toe, what the fuck? You know, fucking yeah. So shout out to Twitch chat, man. Shout out to both my groups, both my fucking groups. I am extremely lucky to be a part of both of those groups. And I want them to know that that I know how lucky I am to be not only raiding with them, but to be their friend, and that's very, very important to me. And yeah, man. So
Getting sensitive
yeah.
here, man.
And shout out to Frosty for the fucking and Perez. I haven't talked to Perez in forever. I fucking this is just
the only
moment,
reason I
man.
made this show was so you guys could talk.
I haven't talked to Perez in forever, man.
Well, I mean, we talk on Discord, but
well, yeah, but
Don't
I mean,
talk
not
like
like
this,
this,
yeah, you don't
not
do
like
that.
this, you know. But anyway, yeah. So those are my shout outs, and thanks again to Twitch chat, man. My groups, Perez, Frosty. That's it, man. That's all I got, dude.
Guys, if you aren't actually following Xeno, please do it. There's a link for him right there. Follow him, sub to him, do whatever. The guy's awesome. You should support him. And you could easily check him out. He's streaming all the time, helping people helping the scrubs get through the content. Every
hey, man,
day.
I'm just as bad. I can't even pop Brill right. I can't even pop a Brill, dude.
Perez, give me your shout outs, dude.
Well, I just want to shout out my static. It's like they're the main reason why I take this game so seriously right now. They're an amazing group. We're doing world progression. Aless, Asuza, Kuru, Melody, Nepu, Seller, Yuna, Ventus. All you guys are fucking awesome. I want to shout out Elysium. Hopefully we can fuck up them EU nerds. Hopefully.
You hear that, anger?
And I know we're not on EU time. So I'm pretty clear on saying that. So,
God, man, I'm rooting.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Oh shit, Yurios in the chat. I heard that.
Oh, fuck.
I knew he was here. Dude.
Oh, dude.
Go
ahead.
No, yeah, but yeah, shout outs to Frosty for having me on the show. For it's fucking awesome, the publicity I get from this, and it's always fun. It's always fun. Yeah. I always have a good time, and of course Xeno. I feel like 90% of the people that know me on this game come from Xeno. So,
one day, man, we're gonna be tanking together again.
Oh, dude, it's gonna happen.
One day, dude.
Yeah. Well, please follow him on Gangsta Replay. I put the link in the chat. It already went. Yeah, that's what it is, dude.
It is Gangsta Replay.
Come on, change it.
It's been Gangsta Replay since I've been in grade 7. All right.
Nice, dude. Gangsta Replay on the Twitch.
Grade 7. I need to change that shit, dude.
Oh man, I am excited to see the world race and everything else too, Perez. I think that it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
to
it's
see
gonna
how
be
things
hype,
are. But it's going to be scary. I am afraid. I will not lie. I am afraid for the NA servers. I'm very afraid. Yeah. But
yeah.
I'm hoping it just works out. They said the difficulty is going to be creator, with the last fight being harder than creator.
And as long as the server stability difficulty isn't cold steel, we'll be fine, dude.
Yeah.
Another cold steel. Yeah.
Oh,
no, that would be the worst. If the reason why World First or World Second, whatever, was lost because of servers, holy shit, man, that is hell.
I am monitoring this, by the way, guys. I'll go ahead and throw this as my own little. It's not really promotion. I don't get anything out of this at all.
Can you self-promote on your own stream?
I guess. No, I mean, doing this, I don't get any benefit out of it, like in any way, any shape or form. But I want to do it because I enjoy watching the race. I'm going to go ahead and link this real quick. This is the link to the current World First spreadsheet. And if you guys want to follow it, I'll be updating that as the clears come in. It's going to be... It's going to be pretty interesting to see how it all turns out. I have 86 teams that said that they're going to be taking it seriously and they're going to be racing. They're not all probably going to be at the level Perez here is, but we'll see.
I mean, competition is competition, right? It's always appreciated. It always, motivates people to do better. So bring it on, motherfuckers. Let's do this. Let's fucking do this.
Guys, this has been a great show. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you both on again. And I hope that we'll have you on here again in the future. I know you guys are getting ready for that rating experience coming up on Tuesday, and I wish you the best of luck with it for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Dude, of course. And by the way, Twitch chat, I want to go ahead and say my shout outs real quick. Thank you very much, Carrara, for helping me out with the show. Thank you very much, Andre Kane, for helping with the music, Blazana for the artwork. Thank you, the chat here, for coming in here. I'll have to reiterate this with Xeno. Thank you, Twitch chat, for being here and being a part of everything. All the people watching the show, even if you're not saying anything. Feel free to follow the channel. Sub if you really want to. Guys, please have a wonderful evening. Keep cool, be good, and stay frosty. Bye, guys. Say bye.
Adios.
Oh shit, my mic was muted. Bye.